44 checked in. That's a tournament, Divine. And anytime the boys are ready, let's end it.
Yes, absolutely. Let's get into it.
Dude.
No better time to start than Rikazo.
Evandariel coming out with just what a massive stack of profile cards. Speaking of which, massive stack. He's got some very, very aggressive units coming out here. 3 of the fastest units in the game. These are literally the top tier blue units. All of them the best. Rikazo, on the other hand, you know, we said he was aggressive. We said he came out here to kill, but he's looking like he's got some rather defensive units. Aiden, you know, a tank and 2 bruisers. Not the best outlook, but he is going to pick up that tank with his first pick.
They do, as both opponents do lock this in. You know, we got a bit of a delay, so you can't use this information, obviously, 100% to your advantage. But you know, boys, be good, honest boys. Don't sit there, trying to scream peek too much. Let's focus on the draft, and with that, we've got the next. Ooh, a lot of AOE options actually up for Evan, and also some good single target. Actually, a good discussion. Okay, we go for the last piece, Corinne. I think she's like 280 plus on in the draft mode, if I'm not mistaken.
Very fast unit. She's so what I would consider an assassin, right? Where you go real fast, take out a target, and then you try to stay alive and do as much damage as you can, but that's never a sure thing. And in a case like this, ooh, Remnant Violet, that's a really strong carry pick for Evandariel, but there's already a last piece Corinne on the other side. You can't risk it. So we go with the Pillis. And wow, disaster averted. Rikazo actually picks up Solitaria, which, as a debuffer, is such a hard counter to Remnant Violet. So good on Evandariel to not pick that up. And I'm not gonna lie, Evandariel looks like he's stuck in a spot, right? Because he needs damage for his team. Now, Remnant Violet, Sage Vivian, that's another focus unit. Not another unit you would prefer not having to take into Solitaria. Rikazo just has more options for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. We got these interesting tech picks. Obviously, Eaton will be a ton of damage as he does his job, but also Christie able to provide a lot of backline mitigation. We do opt into the Lionheart, a little bit of a staple, have you seen? And actually specking into the Crescent Moon Rin, obviously a good pick for a lot of reasons. And you know, put it on your player card and let it bless your name. Dark Corvus has come in at the last second to help our boy out, almost as if it was a sign from the gods above. A Dark Wind Angel sweeping in at just the last moment.
And he's going to need that. Dark Corvus is he's an unstoppable force. He's coming for you slowly but surely, and Evandariel definitely needs a damage. Goes for the ML Leica instead. Now, this is a unit that got a pretty big buff on the last balance patch of draft mode. Got a lot more speed in addition to her damage, and she's looking to pick off one of those units. Evandariel ending up with 2 damage dealer here. Whereas Rikazo actually looking a slightly more defensive. He's got a lot more bruisers, a lot more tanky units.
Yeah, well, you're not always going to get the playstyle that you want when you're thrown into this kind of hectic hellhole that is the draft mode. You're going to have to be able to adapt, and this is the first of many times we're going to have to see people getting out of their comfort zone as we get directly right into the first match.
You should be happy I'm here.
And wow, ML Rin takes the first turn. This is one of those units that got added last patch. She's, I think, the 3rd or 4th fastest unit in this game mode. And when she takes the field, you better look out. She's stealing your buffs, and she's looking to land stuns.
Yep, absolutely. And just as you said, and the RNL proc already, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get started on Evan's side. 20 souls on deck, obviously, as well. But we've got a litany of devastating advances we can make now that we've taken advantage of that stun state. And we do throw ourselves with the S3 into the Solitaria afterwards as well.
Steal her barrier here. Not too much after that. 1 extra turn is just going to push our tempo up a little bit. Oh, dual attack comes in from ML Leica, takes the turn, but now Lionheart Surmi is activated.
RNL again, why not?
23-11, we talk about this all the time, and we're seeing it in action right here. And
another stun! It's so much fun putting out all those debuffs on the allied squad. Actually, probably going to be effective, considering that's effect resistance into that Solitaria that we were really valuing as my voice cracks all over the place.
Oh my goodness, burns into the Arrowell. That's just looking to eat away right at the tank immediately. Orbital Cannon Blast comes through. Oh, it knocks out the last piece. Corinne Solitary hangs on with an inch of her life, and so does the Arrowell. Oh, Rikazo being put on the back foot so much with only a quarter of his HP left to try to stabilize this match. And he's still a turn off with his Lionheart Sermia not being able to do anything. That is looking tough.
That's what I do.
We narrowly managed to scrape by and get some of those debuffs on the field, but we've still got our Solitaria staying stealthy back there. Well, not back there. She's actually front running here, and why wouldn't she? She's the major damage and pretty much our closer for what we hope is the rest of this comp. Now, we do go into the S3. Not only is it going to put up the shields, it's definitely going to kill here. And now we've just got to do what we can with the little bit of mitigation and protection we have left on our squad.
Now, the real important thing to take note here is that Lionheart Sermia's effect resist buff got stripped, so only 30 to go up against this Briar Witch, and oh, that is a defense break. You do not want to see that when you're the Lionheart player. You're a defense scaling unit. Your one defense stat accounts for both of your survival and your damage, and with a defense break, you have neither.
And with nothing left to fear, we simply burn here. But we actually do get a resistance. However, the damage carrying through, sticking to the arrow, means she's a done deal. And we get the extra turn as well. Yep.
And now.
Listen, as I said, evandariel cooking up a storm right here. He's calling in the drone strike hot and heavy. He's paid his favors, he's bought his packs, and he's ready to finish this off in style. Bon appetit!
He knocks Rikazo out of the tournament, and like right off the bat too. That is so quick.
Does it say best of 3 on the rules?
Am I the one that doesn't know how to read?
It says all matches will be played in draft mode, best of 3s up until the semifinals.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do best of 3s then.
Yeah.
Avela.
About to say, I was sitting here too, and you were like,
I can't read. Whoops. All right, let's run it back. Let's run it back with Evandar Rikazo. Whoops. Do you think I can play as an FTP? It's probably the most FTP friendly gacha game out there.
And it's the anniversary time, so it's a hell of a time to get back in.
Dude, they're giving us so much free stuff. I got 55 leaves in my mailbox yesterday. Imagine if like Genshin gave out 55 like Fragile Resin, or if Honkai gave out 55 fuels. Ain't no other games treating you this good. Oh, wait a minute. I go into this. Is that what I see? An ML Landy coming out of Evan's side?
Listen,
oh no.
Listen. As we said, this is the weapon. This is the weapon that Ava units are built upon, that you have to think about in terms of balancing from now on.
Oh no, Evan not only picks up the first pick ML Landy, but also he gets Infernal Kawazu as well as Lionheart Sermia, meaning Rikazo can't pick up these units. These two are some of the biggest counter picks to this ML Landy unit. Right now, this is the biggest, newest, baddest kid on the block, Navy Captain Landy. And boy, is she gonna take over some matches. Holy moly.
Oh no, picking the Politis into the... oh, no, mamma mia.
Oh boy, and there's a Politis. Rikazo needs to go back to his old job, aggro, and he needs to swing it out hard. There's not many options for him. He needs to be able to run Evandariel over. He has Lua in the first pick. Politis is a really good counterplay tool, but he needs the damage. And looking at the board, I would say he definitely has his choice of damage. This is looking possibly okay.
Yeah, we could definitely stabilize here. There's nothing that brings a little bit more stabilization than the Destroyer and Eater of World Strays himself. And ooh, don't know about how I feel about the choices are for either side here, in all honesty.
Oh, yeah, that's looking a little bit rough. Moon Bunny Dominio comes out for Evandariel, so he has a little bit of support coming in for him. But the fourth round, I guess he has Green Violet, right? That's a pretty good pick. That's a pretty good unit you can take against Cleave. There's always an RNG out for you. But for Rikazo, I would definitely say this is where his tempo gets slowed down again. Not too many options on his side that could really enable that aggressive playstyle. Death Dealer Ray is going to come in clutch.
Yeah, Death Dealer Ray might be able to steal some kind of turn, but obviously we can't put Landy to sleep, so we're going to still have that as a ticking time bomb. And finally we end it. We get the classic cleave anchor of the APOC Robbie. Shu if we wanna LOL XDD. And possibly a Commander Path if we just want to dish out devastating damage.
And especially, with evandariel's team, like, it just looks so defensive. Summer Luluka coming out as well. That's just a unit that's so hard to punch through. It's really hard to set up across all the utility and the landmines she can provide. Just being able to strip buffs and then drop debuffs on top of opponents on top of that. Rikazo needs to be able to pick up a top model Luluka here, but then you're picking up a top model Luluka into a Moon Bunny Dominial. Oh, not a lot of options.
Into a Moon Bunny Dominial with a lot of targets that are starting off with crit hit resistance as well.
Summer Luluka banned out just to eliminate those landmines like we were talking about with the debuffs, but Stray's taken out for Rikazo. So him losing out on his biggest damage dealer definitely hurts quite a bit, especially versus some of the best counter-attacking bruisers in the game.
Oh, also noticing just now that the Moon Buddy is also on immunity set. Interesting, but it's going to be Lua coming out, obviously, swinging first. We do get the soul burn here. We do need these we do need to push things back. We need to head off a little bit of what might be going on as we pull up some beguiles and push back a couple of turns, not all of them, but I believe that also means that Shu is ready to get a little bit active, as the kids might say.
Yeah, Shu is going to have her Elbrus effect, which means if you hit the ally right here, Shu has a chance to counterattack. Landy has a chance to counterattack, and there it is, just goes right in. Yep, that's going to hurt quite a bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me on an amazing journey as we count how many Landy counters we get to witness today. Either on counter set or Elvis procs, just to shut up everybody who thinks this unit rolls. Anyway, my frustrations aside, we do get the Moon Bunny turn coming out. Now we can see a little bit of action here going on with this one. Obviously, we're getting lots of benefits that I'm struggling to remember because I haven't seen this unit since the Day of Christ. But the Doctor's Bag is on board, and that also means with that non-attack skill coming out, we also get the trigger from the Politis, and right back in turn, the trigger from LunarTzuyu.
Rikazo's stuck in a tough spot here. His team is going to take a lot of damage, and with almost just the DDR surviving, he is going to just yield it up. GG 2-0 going over to evandariel. That is looking real rough. evandariel, though, takes the series very convincingly. So Rikazo does go down to evandariel in game 1, and after that, I think we're looking at, if XLR is around, let's get XLR in, and he'll be going up against Adamantoise. So, whenever the boys are ready, let's send them in and see which one of these two are the more adaptable players.
Oh god, and the kawaii cute, all the spongy, bright colors are assaulting my eyes, so we get,
oh boy. Hey, there she is. There she is. That is going to be the question of the century. Can one of these players roll Emma Landy, and can the other players roll enough counterplays to beat out this Emma Landy?
Ahoy!
And like you said, Divine, that right side luck is coming through. Ahoy! Big shit, big damage.
Oh, okay. Hey, listen, remember, one of these characters you're able to pick up through the Season 2 Moonlight Connection, Astromancer Elena, as I was hinting at, coming out immediately as one of those answers of just, alright, I guess we get the stockpile, like 5 or 6 answers, but also doing pretty well, I'd argue, into the Mort as well.
Yes, Astromancer Elena has a unique buff that lets her passively prevent any incoming counterattacks, and oh boy, that is going to be quite nasty. Adamantoise might want to think about banning that out, and really depends on if he has enough tools in the kit, enough cards in the deck, so to speak, to stop that Astromancer Elena. If it stops everything else, you definitely want to ban the Astro Elena, so your Moore, as well as your Navy Captain Landy, could fire up those counterattacks, go on all cylinders, and launch the counter assault.
Adamantoise speeding up at just an amazing speed, not only getting the what would be many people's first pick, but also getting the first speed option with the Zeo coming out, of course, with that passive backed up to dominate and take down everything that stands in his way as we get into the final picks here. And I see a favorite character of yours that might be an interesting play here. She does get picked up, the Pirate Captain Flan coming out the last second for left side, and DN joining as well on the right.
Pirate Captain Flan, extremely strong in this game mode. The key here is you have to pick hard crowd control. There is almost virtually no ways to deal with hard crowd control. And speaking of hard crowd control, Zeo gets banned out on Adamantoise side. This unit takes a turn for free, and so does Pirate Captain Flan. Whenever you don't have enough ways to cleanse the debuffs, to put up the immunity, you have to take out Pirate Captain Flan, or else she just single-handedly takes over the game. 260 or 235 speed, close to 200 effectiveness. She is going to stun every unit and their mother here.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of which, I'm stunned that I'm going to have to count up to 2 now. Yes, I will. I know the counterattack got disabled there, but I still saw that Ober's proc come up, and god damn it if I'm not going to count that as well onto the list.
Only through the will of the stars do we find salvation.
You like all those 40 souls we got on left side?
That's
healthy,
a lot of souls.
healthy amount to cycle through, and we're going to need to, because as much as I like the composition of left side, I don't know if we're bringing the damage to put down all our pursuers on right.
You're absolutely correct about that, but I think the saving grace for left side is that he has so many debuffs, and he has the souls, which could end up in a pretty big turn for the ML Silk here. We burn surely into the DN, and that's going to disable all of Adamantoise's cleanse.
His cleanse, his support, basically. We've got a dead pick there in the DN now. As we come right through and rip and tear with our Tempest Surin. She's finally got her chance to play, and she puts out a bevy of silences before we go into that burn we talked about and start cycling and revving up those turns with the carrot. She's got the burns on deck, cleansed out by the T-Surin, but I don't think she's the target in mind. Nope, it's the Landy herself, and she's gone turn 1 immediately. Put up all the bumps.
Huge turn, being able to take out the ML Landy before the ML Elena is removed. Astromancer Elena blocks out all the counterattack. That buys just enough the time to take out the ML Landy. Mort does drop the stomp. We take out the Astromancer Elena. Counterattacks are now back on the board, but is it too late for Adamantoise? He has 2 turns worth of silence on that DN. Can he hold on long enough? I want to say no.
We've got the S1 coming out from our favorite Chocolate Milk Silk. As we go back into DN, she's got no choice but the S1, right? She's got a little bit of combat readiness increase through it, but I don't know if it's enough for her to really get into the action that she needs to save this team. And are we just gonna pop more? And there he goes.
3 stacks of burns, counterattack 4 stacks. That's looking pretty tough. He's gonna put up his buff. Poof. Ooh, gets popped, but comes back with the Holy Sacrifice.
Comes back with the Holy Sacrifice and starts just where it ended. He didn't get his own buff, though, unfortunately, due to the unblockable, unbuffable, and proccing right before he could get the cleanse from dying. Didn't know that was a cleansing attitude. But it's unfortunate. Mort's coming back, though. Let's see if he can crawl back right side into this game.
And crawling back is what he's gonna do. He's hanging on to the last of his HP. DN finishes the last of her silence. And if XLR doesn't find a way to close out this match, DN plus Tempest Surin, a support plus a really evasive, sticky DPS, might be able to get away here. And whew, almost lands the kill with the carrot.
We are back to S3. I was about to say, with the soul burn, yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. We needed to cycle if we wanted to win. We get the additional burns on Mort, and I'm afraid to say that I don't even think Mort can do this one.
Taylor drops the S3. Mort's about to take his turn, but a stack of burn lives through the burn. He's hanging on with less than 1,000 HP, and DN finally gets a turn here.
Finally, indeed. We need shields, barriers, whatever you want to call them. We need them stat, my girl.
DN says, I got you. She's putting them up. Shields come up next turn. We're looking at potentially another round of anti-crits, although not the biggest versus this Carrot here. Carrot is a DPS that mostly relies on her burn debuff. Oh boy, this Mort going into an elemental disadvantage endgame. That's going to be quite tough.
Whoa, we get the stun on our poor DN.
That's
our poor
tough.
DN.
Burns the stun onto the DN. We lose a turn here. And, oh, I was going to say, that's a huge turn for the Wondrous Soak to go back into stealth. But Mort does get the ultimate back up, stomps her right out of her stealth buff.
And we send DN back to straight to the back of the line once again. Oh my god, she has not gotten anything to do here. Get another counter!
Oh, you
but
don't
we get
wanna
another
get
bird
that.
as a result!
Oh man, and XLR places Carrot masterfully and maneuvers his way to a win, taking off game 1 versus Adamantoise.
See, I noticed it in the early game, but those souls allowing us to constantly cycle and get back to that dangerous position with the Carrot S3 was definitely a big factor in our win there. But can't deny that skill was a big part of it. Accelerate definitely led us to a quick, fast, and decisive victory.
You know, we thought Adamantoise took a huge advantage by being able to land that ML Landy off of first pick, but XLR actually, you know, goes through the draft, picks out all the hard counters. He gets the Astromancer Elena, gets the Researcher Carrot, and those unit in conjunction just does so much work for him that Adamantoise really wasn't able to just get those counterattacks online, and that's looking pretty tough for him.
I think it was the denial of our support, as we said. I think Mort, as much as it might be a meme, I think him with his buff and with stats as good as he has in draft mode, he can carry back in a position like that, but he needed the support, as you said, and it just wasn't there.
You know, at the moment they're ready, let's head into it and see how that draft breaks down.
Yes. Also, while we do get ready, hey Trap Chicks, glad to see you in chat down there. Now, let's get back into the action, and no Pirate Captain Flan!
No Navy Captain Landy, but we do have her sister Bellion. We have a Mediator Koeric as well. Lua into Mediator Koeric, that is a really scary matchup, but Conqueror Lilius is the... Oh! Ow! Right into the first pick! The Lua is one of the most dominant characters in PvP, and Mediator Koeric, despite being the best anti-debuff hero, no match into Lua. His entire game plan gets set back by Lua quite a bit, and you really don't want to play him into the Lua. Adamantoise needs to carefully consider the next 4 picks and how he can play around that.
Malk, I don't quite understand what you're saying here right now. How could Lua be a dominant pick if I never unban her? I just don't get it. Like, I don't even see her. She's not a well-liked unit. She's not played in a lot of games. I don't know where you're getting these stats and facts from. I'm a little bit confused to say.
Oh, well, you see, my dear boy Divine. This comes from an era before Lua was banned in every single game. There was a small period before people banned Lua.
There was a time before the Big Bang?
Before the Big Bang, exactly. There was about a period of 2 days before everybody decided this Lua character is illegal. And that's where I farmed enough clips for my YouTube video. So if I weren't playing those 2 days, I'll tell you what, sure as heck, I'm not going to get a Lua showcase nowadays in RTA.
You just put together a how to play video that's just like, it just looks like me disappearing into the background. Like,
yup.
Yeah, pick her. What do you want me to do?
These picks are coming through really fast. You know, despite the Lua opener, XLR actually runs a really orthodox-looking counterattacking team.
He's got 4 colors of the gem. If he had a dark unit, actually at the beginning there, he would have completed the trifecta. I really do love the diversity on that left side team. And on the right, we're bringing a lot of callbacks with some of the new girls, including Abigail, who will excitingly get to see in the game here. Maybe the protection with obviously Abigail and SSB might have been a bit too much, and obviously we do see that Lua band, which means Hangai gets to run at full effectiveness as we run straight head, face into brick wall, into the game.
Let's head into it. Lua does get taken out here. Hangai does get to play his game as well, but now the scary part is, how do we punch through this shoe?
Well, we punch through this shoe the same exact way we punched through episode 3. We mash, 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 and get our way through plot, circumstance, story, and all until we hit a brick wall. And we actually get the first proc, and we get the follow-up on the S1, pushing up our allies on the teams. I think it's like 30 or 40%. Noticing the Idols cheer also, and getting our first Magic for Friends proc.
That is a big turn. You drop that silence onto the Shu, and this is why immunity is so key on Shu, and one of the weaknesses of Shu in draft mode. Once she gets silence, she can't activate her S3, which means you can start hitting her allies and she will have no chance to counterattack you.
And now we've also got the Senya here taking the turn here because while we were happy to get those counterattacks out, we do have the whatchamacallit, the Idol's Cheer on the Ruel in the back, meaning she's gotten pushed up rapidly up to this place that she is now.
Ruel being on Idol Cheer is just so important. That's the one thing she lacks as a support. She doesn't offer no CR push and no support for her allies. And with that Idol Cheer, she's able to push up to her highest attack ally, which in this case, I believe is Senya, up and up and up on the CR bar just to give them more turn priorities.
Yes, and we do see the kill here that we wanted. We do see the hit here into the Meru, proccing Abigail's ability to protect and, most importantly, make it so that she keeps the attack buff here. As we saw with Mort earlier, death will cleanse good and bad of the buffs and debuffs you had, but we wanted her to keep the attack buff so we could get the extra proc of the S2 and finish off the DN, the one we were relying on to revive and bring us back in the game.
Ruel does get taken out, but here's the clutch part. A Ravi gets enough counterattacks and enough CR push to come back, drops her ultimate, big turn comes through. There's going to be no stuns, but this damage is going to be huge.
Huge, but could have been a lot huger. Don't clip that. It could have been a lot better if we had not been stomped by the attack break.
That attack down from the Mediator is so clutch, keeping the Mercedes within an inch of her life right there. Oh my goodness. Abigail drops the S3 onto the Senya, does land the crit. Injury is going to shave off a lot of her HP.
Yes, and unfortunately, we're also in a position now where we had these immunity buffs, but now our poor Abigail is naked, unprotected, absolutely vulnerable. And if there's anyone who takes advantage of vulnerable targets, it's Shu coming in right now.
Mercedes gets taken out as well, goes into her revive. Now on her second life, pixel sliver of HP as well. That's looking real tough for Adamantoise. Game 1 was tough, Game 2 looking just as tough.
Yes, and with the counterattack coming as well, things are getting tough by the second. A second counterattack. Ooh, I can breathe easy for a second. I could have sworn in my nightmares I saw the XDD coming there as a follow-up. We finally get rid of the Senya. We still have the attack break, but man, oh man, does it look like it's a damaging time to be on right side. And even worse when you're getting hit with another S3 from Ravi. The ultimate comes through, double stun, leaving Abigail bent over on her knees and thrown out of the game. Meteor Koeric in the all too familiar situation of being the last man standing as Accelerate brings himself back into this affair.
And with that, the Ravi and the Shu, the double combo just counterattacks their way into victory for XLR, and XLR will be moving on to the brackets. Oh my goodness, what a series.
The GG come out. Respect from both of these players. And let me just say this, respect to both of you. Game, respect, game. I love to see that kind of attitude.
And we see STG going up 2-0 versus Paduniota. So he'll be going up against Alpha Strike. Lots of movements here on this ladder. Deletion taking out Shurikens. So he'll be moving up to round 2. And we still have a few matches being played. That being said, though, I'm just curious why some of these aren't moving up.
Let's get into that game like you were talking about.
Let's do it.
By the way, super hilarious how that phone call went.
Uh-huh.
Because I called him on his number, and I'm like, hello, I'm looking for some yarn for my uncle. And he just went, sir, this is my personal number.
I love Lucid.
So it's been a long day. He's been working out in those fields, but not working as hard as my girl Conqueror Lilius works that catwalk, coming out with the excellent S3 that provides the vigor, that puts down the attack down on all those unwantable fashionistas who don't know a thing about what it means to be queen. Slay it, girl. And following in suit with the Lionheart Surmia, an excellent pairing to counteract back into the Queen, putting the ticking time bomb down on her side, saying once that S1 comes out, she's going to come out with with the fierce S3 striking back. Speaking of those similar interactions, obviously the Op Sig and the Arrow come into play. No ProfBoyYT to worry about today. We are coming in with those runes, which means with those barriers, Opsig's got a prime position to pick and choose the targets that she wants to put down like the dogs of the state they are in opposition of her fell blade.
Operator Cigarette, excellent pick here, as specialty change Arrowwell does provide a lot of barriers, giving Opsig a complete damage penetration, but ML Ken actually comes through. Now that's a unit that's going to return any crits on him with a crit of his own, and he hits quite hard. Green Vildred as well. Now there's a lot of damage coming in from SCG side. If he does get this Arrowwell through, which I'm thinking he's inclined to with this Arrowwell, who actually wins this? That's very, very hard to say. Closer Charles comes in. That's another speed contest unit. This might put SCG on the back foot if he doesn't get enough units to race with, and oh boy.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, we all see it, having to sneak in at the end. This piece of shite.
Yeah, that's Navy Captain Landy right there. Yes, sir. STG says, all right, you want to play aggressive? Play aggressive into these. He picks up the ML Landy. And Alpha actually does sneak in another fast unit here with the Zahhak. So Alpha
with the Zahhak bridging and Captain coming on board from starboard side, weighing ahoy on Captain Landy's ship and hoping to cut throat the necks of any swashbuckling gullard that stands in his way. Oh man, I had I'm telling you, Valk, I was ready for that joke.
Yeah, you really did just came in barreling with that. And with that, we are going to take out the Zahhak. We don't want any injury. We don't want any surprise damage. And Alpha is going to ban the Operator Sigrid. So with that, we are looking at a Conqueror Lilius into Navy Captain Landy game. Now, those are two real strong units together. I would even say, depending on how they're picked, they're the two best units in the game. And we might just see that this exact match.
Walk that walk, girl, and talk that talk as we push back the old man in the back of the line, and we get ready to rip, roar, and tear with the Bilgit S3. We're going to get a little bit of defense pen, but we're going to see counter. We're going to see counter, and we're going to see counter after counter. Barely surviving, no doubt in part because of that vigor buff, allowing him just enough to crawl away from that ass kicking he received from martial artist Ken.
Martial Artist Ken, one of the better units for this. Oh, it kills the closer Charles. Not going to get that combat readiness push. No attack up for Alpha to use here. And now he's being left with Arrowwell plus two really strong counterattack based bruisers. One counterattacks himself, the other one gets a very strong passive off whenever the opponent counterattacks.
And we do start to get a little bit of that damage going. Obviously, we can't stun Landy because we can't... I'm gonna shut up. We can't stun Landy, but we can bite back with a counterattack of our own, get a little bit of our HP up as we get ready, put down the Vildred for good, and now we've got that decision to make. All right, we do go into the Arrowwell. She once again gets the counter out, taking away the buff. And speaking of buffs, all buffed up and ready to go. Rip and rare and ready to tear. Ooh, LunarTzuyu is here. Now let's get some defense breaks going, and she might just take out this team in one fell swoop.
Those are two huge defense breaks. And I would say those are the win condition units for STG as well. ML Landy is the main damage dealer for that team, as well as Yulha, who is here to absorb the damage and then tries, you know, she has the opportunity to clap back on this LunarTzuyu and one-shot her. But when you're looking at a defense break, you just die. Oh! Anti-crit working there, and no, isn't going to punch through that damage.
Now we gotta get rid of her quickly because you can hear it on the horizon, bending back the waves and going through them all on its own. It's the ship coming to sea, and we don't get it. We get another counterattack. We defense up, but is it going to be enough? We've got an increase of attack. We've got attack boost itself, right? We've got defense penetration. We've got a stun, and it's all coming right here on the shores of Navy Captain Landy as STG holds on to the S3 to kind of make me look like an idiot. Almost made me think he wasn't going to press it, but hit that button and hit ashore with all that damage.
Ahoy drops the MLK straight up and drops a stun onto the Lionheart as well. Yulha is going to come in here, big collapse, drops all the cubes, and is going to lock out this ML Sirmia.
But we do get all the damage we need to finish up at sea. STG gets his victory. And you also have to keep in mind that STG is running with an advantage here, right, Valk? Because as he just said, he was able to deal with his demons. Now, mental illness is something you and me obviously take very seriously, and I don't know what he's dealing with. Whatever he slayed, it's give him the clarity of thought, the clear purpose, and the open mind to envision the most important thing a competitor needs, a path leading straight to victory.
I'm all for mental health on this channel, but when STG says he slayed his demons, that means he took a big poop.
Into the next match.
Into the match. Into the next match. Go, 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 go.
You know, actually, I don't know if I ever showed you. You know the White House chef? He does 2,222 push-ups a day for suicide awareness.
Really?
I just highlighted that. I didn't think that was possible.
2,222.
22 push-ups a day.
You know, if you looked at his profile card, that definitely looks like somebody who does that many push-ups a day.
Okay. All right, Wesker's on his way.
Wesker's on his way. Let's do this. All right, Conqueror Lilius comes out for Alpha this time, and STG is going to pick up the Spectre Tenebria as well as the Politis. Politis is a good pick into Conqueror Lilius, but Carrot now ends up being a pretty serious threat to both, especially when she is able to pick up that Vigor buff from the Conqueror.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is a surprising pick. Champ Zerato coming out. Champion Zerato is not something you would commonly expect to see, but you know, when it comes to fighting debuff units like the Carrot, that is not the worst. And I think Alpha here has a few interesting choices. Fairy Tail Tenebria, clearly very strong. Assassin Sit shuts out any speed threat.
Assassin Sid definitely coming in quick, just as quick as the friend we have waiting downstairs in the VC there, Valk. As we see the neighboring threat once again coming, but this time the captain has switched sides, joining the other team. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something we've got to consider, right? You can build up a good comp in the beginning of the match because you don't see Landy, but she might just come ashore in the end, and that danger will debilitate and put you down in deep, deep waters under the sea with Davy Jones himself. I didn't watch any of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. My parents were poor. We didn't have money. I don't know any more jokes about it. I'm sorry. But we're setting out all my mateys. It's... Just get the fucking match.
Ahoy. Yeah, it's just that's all I know. Ahoy.
In the fucking match already.
Oh, man. Yup, we're getting into it. Man, Navy Captain Landy gets into the match again. You know, I would say STG has a really, really favorable first pick in that Spectre Tenebria, but again, so many AoE units. You got the Researcher Carrot, which is a debuff burn DPS. You got the Sage Vivian, which is a huge, huge, huge AoE nuker and a sustained DPS. And then on top of that, we got the Navy Captain Landy. That's going to be pretty tough. Also, welcome, Lucen. How you doing? How's work today?
Let me just open up this can. Yeah, it was tiring.
Yes, sir. All right, if you need a password to the room, go ahead and DM my boy Frost. He's in the same voice call. He'll hook you up with a password.
Hey. Let's not bother the King Frost about that. I'll send the password. Let him relax on his laurels. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Does a lot of work around here. I'm proud just to know him.
Hop in the lobby and then we'll chat over some of these games. We've been getting some pretty ridiculous games today. I think the legend players are getting slain left and right.
Yeah, it might be a little better than doing it through delay through the stream.
Yeah, the unlucky legends themselves. Oh, we get a whole smattering of those buffs, and we already see them coming into effect, being active, obviously, with the mist coming out from the Captain Landy. Can't get too many of those, or she might not look like the unit that she actually is. Oh my god, Small Gate Y. And speaking of Small Gate Y, why are we dealing with all these burns, this disastrous drought that's going to leave us without any god to keep us ashore? Ooh, do smack back into the A Ravi at that, as we start chipping away at that massive HP pool that she is packing.
Alpha is going to go into the A Ravi first. Now you can go into that Politis, but you know, he's betting on that Politis is going to die with 5 stacks of burns. Spectre Tenebria not looking so hot herself with 2 stacks of burns. And you just want to delay that A Ravi's power spike as much as possible, since every time a unit dies, her ultimate Deliverance Soul Exchange goes up in power by 25%, up to a cap of 75.
Now, Valka, if I'm not mistaken, Sylvan Sage Vivian reduces some of the damage incoming on her, right?
Mm-hmm. So whenever she has a focus stack, which is the yellow tabs underneath her, for each one of those, she has an opportunity to reduce incoming damage by 70%, which is a lot.
Which is a lot, and was not enough to save her at all. That I was about to say. That reduced damage looked about as reduced fat butter. It disappeared absolutely from my eyes. I was stricken with fear. And speaking of which, stricken with the burns, she's out of here. Politis is gone in the blink of an eye. We're left with only the researcher and the captain on ship as she gets the follow-up attack, needing to prove that she's not anything to be messed with. Now she's a lot closer to landing that ship along these treacherous waters, and burns once again, and we know why, because it gets the follow-up attack and it misses on the Spectre Tenebria. But are those 3 burns yet still enough to close the match when she takes her next turn?
A Ravi, though, starts swinging on the landing, gets a counterattack back. That is a huge counter. Spectre Tenebria does go down, and that's not something you want to see. Now this A Ravi gets put in a pretty weird spot. If you kill the carrot here, you lack a revive target, but if you don't, she ends up being able to bring back some damage as well, and on top of that, does your A Ravi... Oh my god, this Navy Captain Landy's going crazy, and that gives her the S3, attack up, anchors away, ahoy, big ships comes in, big damage, and wow, we resist the stun. A Ravi hanging on.
Do we slam S3? We slam S3. SDG gets ready, and he spins the ticket, and he pulls out the winning lottery ticket itself. He gets the crit through the crit hit resist, and the only thing he has to resist now is the smile on his face from a clean 2-0 victory in his favor. STG goons, sound it off in chat. Your boys pulled through another one.
This is a man that's known for his play with this Apocalypse Ravi unit. He says, I have the best A Ravi in the world. And even when the stats are fixed, his A Ravi is the best in the world. That straight up just crits a ML Landy. Navy Captain Landy goes down, giving him that clean 2-0. He really did dominate the match on both sides.
We don't have commercial breaks. How you doing, Lucent?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, sir. How about you? It looks like we're actually going.
We're going into them. Why did they? Okay. All right. Well, we're commentating this one.
Well, it looks like I already see the demon herself already on top. So which one do you think the top's gonna pick, Divine?
I think it's
oh wow, Prof picked Navy Captain Landy. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? I was about to say Rand's also pretty much the. You didn't see it earlier, but our first match was somebody getting 2-3-1-1, not by Rand, but by Crescent Moon Rin.
I also can predict it as well. He's definitely going to pick Zahak. I think that's one of his units that he uses. At least I mean, I could be mistaken. I don't know.
A familiar bias might actually take out. Oh wait, this is between Prof and. Well, I guess they're just playing for fun, yeah.
Oh, it is Prun? Okay. Because actually, I was going to ask you this question as well. Because didn't they recently nerf like ambitious Tywin? Like he's not anywhere near as crazy, right?
His feet off. Yeah, they took his feet off.
Well, I mean,
okay. So he's just not fast.
He was like literally 500 gear score, right?
It was something.
Yeah, he lost like 40 speed. They just like took 40 speed straight off. He
40
just lost
speed and 2,000 HP. They took like something like 100 gear score off of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
They took him out back.
Yeah, we really had to like do like mock up the build, right? So for example, like you see Hesmana in chat. So Hezmon is like a whale. So we asked Hez to make the best A Tywin he could. He was like, this is 460 gear score. And it was like the A Tywin that you saw in the draft mode, but minus like 20 speed. And we're like, odd, 460 gear score plus 20 speed is about 500 gear score. That's strange.
That's strange.
Man,
This is not a bracket match, is it?
No, this is a bracket match.
It is? Okay, then I guess I got it confused. Yeah, we got a bracket.
I was about to say, you were making it sound like it wasn't like it was like a friendly or something.
Maybe I just got the wrong person. I think I was, because I was talking about Cake earlier. Whatever. We're in the match. That's all that matters.
I like Cake.
Love Cake.
I agree with said statements, but I've recently I've been forced on a diet.
You can make you can make some faux cake. It'll be good for you. So hey, what are the predictions on any particular bands? What looks scary on either side, guys?
I could definitely say that there's like 4 units and then a serial killer on right side. Oh look, the serial killer got banned.
Yup. And Emma Elena taken out just in case, we want to play with our counterattacks, and with that, no counterattacks to be played with. So
it means that good old troublemaker Crozet gets to swing a sword all he wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you can do.
Now, interesting combo. I do like the combination of the troublemaker Crozet, obviously there in the back, but also the Seaside Bologna also damage sharing to the front, which means a kind of layer protection that you...
I want to point out something here. I think there's been a misplay on Velvetcake's side. Now, normally when you're playing this Requiem Rowana unit, you want to be putting her, your fastest unit in the front slot, so your Requiem Rowana can catch their speed. So in this case, after the Ran goes, the Rowana actually can't follow up because the Fire Charlotte is in the front. That's actually a really slow unit.
Yeah, well,
And then also another thing as well. Couldn't Prof have also placed some of his units in better spots? Does SSB need to be in the back because she already damage shares to the front? Wouldn't she be better in the bottom or the top?
That is a really good identify, Lucid. ProfBoy misplayed as well.
I was hinting at that as well. That's why I said that. Where I was just like, interesting strategy with the.
It's a really good gamble there, Divine. Let's see how it plays off for him.
Bold move, Divine. Let's see if this works out.
I already feel like I'm back in Vegas. Fuck! I already feel like we're back in Vegas. I didn't drop my water bottle.
All right, ProfBoy said, I did it because Crozet can attempt stun. I timed out.
I thought you meant he timed out now. I was like, fuck me, bro. I don't want to have to deal with this shit. I can't believe... What did you feel when you saw the hiccup on E7 World Cup where you're like, oh, it's not just us? Because I was like, I had a mix of emotions in that moment.
Oh, that one? I think that was me, Red, and Sue when we were there for like the full hour. I'm so glad I ended stream early. I was just like, I'm too tired, guys. I'm gonna just raid Sue. You guys can hang out there. And I'm gonna go get some food and I'll come back. I came back. I was hanging out with them for the rest of the hour, but dear lord.
Troublemaker Crozet kill. Troublemaker Crozet kill. Just had to shout out for my boy.
But that's not the blue one, Divine.
The only one I'm gonna see. Might as well, right?
The blue one's not even in draft, is it? It's like doesn't even exist?
Nope.
Yeah, I figured as much.
He doesn't exist in RTA either.
Hey, why don't you go on ahead and do it?
Oh, Fire Charlotte does get a pretty huge turn, but that is going to push up a Yule Hut at exactly like 1 HP.
1 HP, Yule Hut.
500 HP, 27,000 missing HP worth of damage.
Somebody's getting sent to the Shadow Realm, Jimbo.
Even on a miss, that does 12k, comes back with the Holy Sack, but I don't know if that's going to be enough versus an SSB, though.
She's got the buff because of the shield, which means she does come slamming on down, but yeah, that's not a lot of HP.
Yeah, turn cycling not working too poorly for Velvetcake there, since SSB has attack down and can hit the Fire Charlotte with the defense up. One last hurrah. You have to, this is do or die. If you don't kill here, SSB is going to be bouncing back a big wave with that S2.
Can we get a crit? Can we get a crit? No.
That's a miss.
Into a defense buff.
Let's start with something light.
Yep, SSB going to not take any damage, bounces back a wave, and Fire Charlotte hangs on with a pixel, but even a Yoha slap can finish that.
Yeah,
I was very surprised by that. I didn't think like the Charlotte was going to kill as many as she did.
The Fire Charlotte, when draft mode first launched, was really the build sucks.
Well, I gotta say, and I'm sure my boy STG agrees, the APOC in draft mode is offensive to my eyes.
I mean, it is what it is. STG, regardless of stats on A-Rob, he just wins with it. So, hey, that's power to him. But with the next game queued up, ProfBoy up 1-0, and let's go into it.
Divine, stop choking your chicken. Calm down.
It's playing around in the background.
Looking at first rotation, I'm seeing some really interesting units. Now, first rotation is always where you get the most powerful units in the game. And don't mind the shaky camera. My desk is standing up, so it's a little bit shaky.
Hey, at least your background isn't threatening to send you into oblivion.
But like that's something you activate, though, you know?
Yeah, it's my special power. Just like how Requiem Rwanda has a special ability to borrow the speed of the unit placed in first. Now, we've got two speedy counterparts here, especially with the Ran, so if we do pick up... No, we don't. We don't even want to go down that treacherous road. I understand the difficulties of properly placing your units. ProfBoy is well aware of that, as the Professor himself. Does he want to take the risk that he accidentally, with his big fingers... might actually press the wrong part of the screen. So, solid strategy from him to mitigate his own weaknesses as a player.
I was really expecting ProfBoy being one game up to take the Requiem Rwanda there. If anything, you know, if it were me, I would tell my opponent, watch this. This is how you play this unit. You know?
Yeah, okay. We see left side narrowly dodge both furry options.
With the BBK coming out.
Both furries, yeah, with the BBK. All the ML4s actually at that point.
BBK run. That's something usually you see these two units when you're expecting to defend against Cleave, not when you're going into Cleave. And both players going quite aggressive into this. ProfBoy picks up the Ida here. Velvetcake picks up a secondary enabler in the Bunny Dominion. And would you look at that? Is it just me, or is ProfBoy out of openers?
It would appear so. However, he might be able to protect his target in the back with that Abigail. Could be a nice idea. The Armin also does play nice and well into a Cleave style. And the Summarize area can also activate off the Ran S3. Now, of course, the Moon Bunny is there. But there is a secret technique that Rans have been whispering about actually, that allows them to overcome the matchup difference against the Moon Bunny. And that same technique also mitigates the danger of the Politis pick as well. I'm wondering if ProfBoy's knowledgeable about it.
Well, that's a bold strategy, Divine. Let's see if it pays off for him.
This could be the whole weekend. It's a bold strategy.
That's a bold move, Divine. Let's see if he gets a W off of that strat.
Now, let's remember what's at stake here, ladies and gentlemen. If Velvetcake takes the win here, he will be moving on. And of course, if ProfBoy takes the win here, he won't be able to go back to his Switch for a little bit. So dangers on both sides as we ban out the Armin, and we see Ida is locked back up in her cell with the dirty rats. Read the lore.
Gotta ban out the green Armin whenever you're cleaving like this. You don't want your opponent to be able to anchor. Now, Ran is going to take the first turn, especially with the green Sid giving him additional speed. And he
what a move! But ProfBoy avoiding hitting the S2, unbeknownst to everyone here. He's actually able and knowledgeable about the secret technique that allows him to demolish left side's comp as he starts and asunders their field with his attack.
Hey, yo, bro, he just hit S3.
I'm actually fairly impressed. ProfBoy makes like a play that, you know, you usually see coming out of Cleave veterans. You skip Ran S2 to avoid activating Moon Bunny Dominion, like you said. And that is really smart, considering ProfBoy is normally a tank down player.
Now does he make the right choice here? Is actually where it's interesting.
S3 goes into the Politis. That's a kill.
Which gives him the extra turn, which does this bullshit. But he does get the kill anyway.
Wow, a ProfBoy actually pulling out a pretty expert cleave. Now that all the important units are dead, you can do whatever you want on your Ran. And he is just going to whip it into the Lua. Defense break lands him that kill.
Shall we get moving?
I knew it was the defense break. Oh, bro. The advanced version of the 3-2-1-1, just the 3.
Just the 3.
Coming into play here.
Yep, the 23-11.
3 inches is all I need.
Thanks for letting us know.
Yes. And something else I'll let you know, we've got a QR code.
Left side.
Yep, right over there. We'll say though, ProfBoy does take that series pretty clean, 2-0. First game he played defense versus Cleave, and second game he actually put on a bit of a clinic. He played Cleave himself real well, not something we've ever seen him done. And that's one of those things that I think is exclusive to draft mode. If you have an account that has a really hard time playing a particular playstyle due to gear, draft mode is where you're going to be able to really bring it out and prove to people that, hey, I got it both ways.
Yes, next month we've got an interesting tournament coming up. As you know, we are on the cusp of a new season, ladies and gentlemen. But before that drought mixes in, we've got some interesting ideas to field, and I'm telling you, this next tournament is going to be absolutely dirty. 5-fingered fuckery.
Oh, is that what we're calling it? 5-fingered fuckery?
No, absolutely not.
No, that's just his background.
I see.
That's a real price. It's always looking good. Sorry about that, Val.
Oh, no, you're good. Heading into it. Yep, there you go. Byako wrapping his own profile card. There it is.
Wait, hold on. Everybody, hold on. I'm getting some news.
Okay, I'm hearing it too.
We've got a gentleman's agreement going on. Both people in this game, because they're from the same guild, are going to be running it down middle, picking only the middle units to make up their composition and draft, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be crazy. We get Cookout Kawazu immediately coming out as a result. Ooh, Solitaria and the God Mort resurrecting once again.
We'll say the Volcanix got a pretty aggressive looking comp, and we got an Architect Leica on top of everything. Ooh, suddenly the tide shifts. Now Byako's looking like he's in the driver's seat. Syngelica versus Destina. That is unfortunate. Destina's going to be able to revive her entire team, but Syngelica is going to be able to block all of that with the immortality on herself, giving the entire enemy team extinction. Man, what an interesting set of circumstances. I actually thought Volcanix had a really good lead into the draft with this very legitimate looking tank down opener. But then suddenly Byako just turns it up to an 11 with his down mid draft. That's crazy.
I think the most important thing here is, what are you inheriting? These are two guildmates going at it one after another, and their spirit will move on through their brother's victory. So let's see if they can fight, teach, learn, and evolve in this one match to become the dominant force that bites through the rest of the tournament.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what they're gonna need to do going into game. AOL removed for Volcanix, as Byako doesn't want to deal with any of the buff strips, as well as Cookout Kawazu being taken out for Byako's side.
Couldn't make it to the cookout. They stopped him. They're like, sir, is that petroleum? He's like, what do you want?
Now, I'll tell you what. This is premier propane. For the
propane accessory.
I'll tell you what, this already looks like really, really unfortunate for Volcanix, just because look at that turn order. Look whose last turn it is on Byako's side. So then 3 units are just straight up going to be invincible at the end anyway.
It's looking pretty tough. Beams out the A Taiwan right away, as we can't deal with those debuffs he puts in. And now, because we have the immortality on the Syngelica, Destina can't even revive him. DPS Solitaria does actually take out the Landy there, and Aiden. One big sword comes through. Bada bing, bada boom. Mort already taken out. Goes in a holy sack.
Mort solo.
Revives.
No Mort solo.
No.
More solo.
No.
Byako takes out first match convincingly, running it down middle. Strategy that worked out extremely well for him, getting a very cohesive team comp in a game mode where, you normally have to take a lot of, these independent contractors, these units that don't need the combos to work. And I think Byako got every piece of the combo that he wanted.
Damn right.
Oh, they said we're running it back, and we're running it back down mid again.
Run it down mid, gentleman's agreement. Both of the, and if I gotta say it, Volcanix is a man of his word. I've known him to always be a man of his word. And you know why? Because once again, I've got another hot and spicy divine take about this man, because I've known him, got a little bit of his background ready and prepped as you might not know. And he actually is a very similar profession to somebody we've talked about before.
Oh yeah? What does he do?
He's been a contractor as a part of the military. You see, he used to be a part of a lot of groups from before, and he used to serve in special operations for Blackwater and PMC military group. So you got to be careful with this guy on the battlefield. He's a precise assassin trained in being able to put down and put away targets, and I don't think he's out of the fire just yet.
Don't mind me getting that sniper copy pasta.
I will say, I don't know how it is, but Car 6 keep landing these military and government guys on his guild. That's pretty impressive. I gotta learn something, a thing or two from our boy Car. Alright, that being said though, we got Volcanix and Byako. They're gonna run it back down mid again. Let's do this.
Worship the Lord, as Byako's profile card says. And you can get one of those if you win our tour. I gotta stop. We run it down mid with the Mediator getting followed up into the command model Leica. This time seems a little bit of that Lux reversed. Ooh, should I have not spoken? Seems I spoke too soon, because there's a demon on the battlefield and her name is Shu.
The moment the Lux reverse, Shu versus Carrot. That is such a good matchup for Shu. And now FCC into K-Ron. I feel like the matchups just get worse and worse for Volcanix. Lethe there as well into the DN. DN's a really good support, just putting up a lot of buff there. I'm sure she'll be able to fight against the Lethe. And wow, Lone Crescent Bologna. That's actually probably the best unit for Volcanix, as well as Death Dealer Ray. I think normally that's a pretty threatening unit, but into the Mediator Koeric, maybe not the best unit you want to see. So towards the end of this, I would say both players draft kind of even now, especially for Byako, where I think he doesn't have a whole lot of damage, and he really needs to rethink his game plan, and whether or not he maybe wants to get swifty with the ban, and doesn't on his ban.
Just like I thought we'd see out of the Volcanix. Bans out the Shu, and now the damage. Who? The damage roll is going to be dependent on who?
The Shu's out of here, so now Byako's stuck with 3 supports and a tank.
Who's on first?
Who's on first?
And now Volcanix has one job, and it's how cleanly he can play around this Mediator. If he can play really well around this Mediator Koeric, I think Volcanix is probably fine, especially heading into the end game. But if Volcanix lets Byako get in some of these venoms and injuries, he might be in trouble.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it and I'm just trying to remember. There's no means of strip at all on Byako's side, so all Mediator Koeric has to do is just like stand there pretty much, right? Until it's needed.
Soul burn right here and just keep immunity up for 3 turns.
Yeah,
and that's what he does.
Oh boy, yep, DDR goes. You got the Plague Doctor buff, which is going to land a lot of Venom stacks with his units, but through immunity, that's not going to do a whole lot, and that's where that Mediator Koeric value comes from.
100%.
Now we've already got the burns on deck. We're going to have to cleanse those off with a quick S2, but as we keep saying before, overall, it's hard to piece together an overall strategy, a path to victory for right side.
I honestly can't see it because of just how much power Koeric has on the field. He's the one thing that's stopping Byako in his tracks. He has no strip. He can't really deal with it.
It is my job to restore balance, he says. And especially in this case, if you're scared, run.
Run. Oh, we did it at the same time. Holy shit. And speaking of running, I think we're going to have to be running down to the sea. Under the sea.
Under the sea.
Wait is better. Wait is better. Under the sea. Ba 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 da ba. Fuck now. Ba ba ba. This does damage.
Look, when you get one of these matches where you have one player's playing 4 tank units, you got to get a little creative with your commentary.
You think that they give her HP, but they only give her speed, and now she is leading in turns. Oh my god, the free SB. It's so bad. We are losing turns. This is gonna be top righted real quick, or I'll lose my mind.
Yo, respect.
Yeah, as some might have highlighted in chat, Byako's win condition here was he knew that with 1 DPS, you can reasonably deduce that Volcanix was going to ban the shoe, and with the draft, you ban the mediator. If Byako decides to keep it gentlemanly, that's a fast top right.
I had like 8 more jokes. Remember,
RNG giveth, RNG taketh away. We're running it back, so they're going to be running it down mid again for the 3rd one, and you know. We got some cash prizes in the tournament. These are some real gentleman's agreement right here.
Yep. Ooh.
Well, looky there.
I like to say somehow the one game with the gentleman's agreement is the game the Captain Landy just doesn't want to show up.
If the Captain Landy shows up mid, I don't know. You know, you got to do what you got to do.
Most mid pick of all, Captain. A10.
Oh,
yo, what is all this protection?
Byako is running 3 tanks now. That is not looking good for him, I will say.
Oh, speaking of 3 tanks.
Oh no, that Strays is definitely getting stuck. You're picking a mid-speed unit into high-speed units like Fairy Tail Tenebria and into the Zahag, and you can't stop them with your Payra. That is looking pretty rough for Byako.
I don't know. I think those last 2 picks kind of turned the favor around a decent bit, I'd say. You know, obviously we've got 2 of the highest DPS green units in the game. But ignoring that, might have a real chance with the summer break Charlotte.
You know, Volcanic's draft is starting to look more and more like a Kana draft. Yeah, he goes Arrowell and then 4 cleave units. Look at that.
Love the way you said cleave. He goes Arrowell, then 4 cleave units.
I mean, that's how Kana plays. Like, that's a Kana draft if I've ever seen it. Volcanix ran it down middle and he pulled out a Kana draft. That shows you how difficult that draft is to pull off.
All right, well.
Oh, Zahag S2s does get provoked out by the Fire Lilius, but this is going to give Green Sid a turn.
He believed it that much. He believed in him. Now let's see, is the barrier... I think is she on Bastion? No, she's not on Bastion Pollution. Is the barrier enough?
No,
oh,
it is
not. Even tough little Eaton can't eat up all that damage. And we get the defense break as well. Might just need to S3 to get that off as soon as possible.
That is absolutely the play here to consider. You're going to have to think, I can S1 here to drag an AoE dual attack, and he is going to do that just to try to hit back as much as he can. Lands 1 defense break on the Sage Vivian, and actually, CR pushes, gets the turn, gets the self-cleanse, goes right back in. Stuns the Sage Vivian. Sage Vivian left with 2 sacks, loses a turn.
Loses a turn, but unfortunately, she's not the only unit in this game with a stun.
Everyone's still thinking about it. Goes on the Fire Charlotte. This is where C. Lilius is really good. C. Lilius still has the S3 cleanse, so Byako's not in the worst spot, but he needs to stabilize this ASAP. And that's going to be hard to do versus his Green Sid. Ooh.
Who just comes in and does a quick cleave through the blue Charlotte, leaving Byako, unfortunately, in a messy situation. Now, as a proud card-carrying member of the Eaton gang, I believe in my guy, but in this kind of situation, even the Golem must be put to rest. Etem.
He's trying. He's trying to figure out who he needs to fist to get himself that W out of here.
Oh, he put the heart up for his brother. He knows his brother is fighting for what he's got, and he responds and you guys are gonna make me cry.
The boys are throwing out the DNLs left to right. You love to see it. That just shows you how good the community is. Wow, Green Sid gets another kill through mitigation. And Eaton here surely goes down to the Green Sid again. The Green Sid getting 4 kills out of this rotation. That just shows you, when you set up a Green Sid, this is the kind of return on investment you're going to be seeing.
You invested in him from turn 1. You know, Zahak held his hand out and said, "Go, my son," and he did. All
right. So after Byako and Volcanix going up 2-1 one of the closer series we've seen this match. It's actually running it down mid.
Get on.
You know
huh?
I'm gonna have to send the VOS over to the sponsors, right?
To edit out a couple seconds.
Yeah, we're gonna have to trim a couple seconds out of the VOS here. All right, well, it is what it is. Going into the match, first round of picks. I think blue team actually has a whole myriad of openers available. Whereas red team, only the green Leica if they want to play turn 1.
Did blue team have a myriad of openers? They had the Conquer Lilius pick. They saw Conquer Lilius. I think we added 2+2 there, to be honest with you.
I mean, look, when you have that Conqueror Lilius, it's like the equivalent of having every single opener available to you. I don't know what else you could ask for. You see Conqueror Lilius, you take Conqueror Lilius. It's just that simple.
And it's almost as simple as our goal, as our main girl. Did you take away #boots? Or exclamation
it's
point.
#Landy Boots.
Oh, sorry.
There you go. I got you. All right. Looks like I need to reset the tournament playlist. So at the very least, we want to avoid the DMCA.
Yeah. Did you see the new Hatsune Miku fitness boxing game?
I've not. What is that about?
It's bro, I said it. It's Hatsune Miku fitness boxing
game. Okay. Are you gonna get as fit as Green Violet, eating all those apples and dodging left and right? That is one swifty boy, though.
Hey, listen, an apple a day will keep the anti-evasion
away. An apple a day keeps the death dealer rays away.
But speaking of which, we see a special nightmare coming up. It's the Inos 2.0. No, I'm joking. It's the Fairy Tale Tenebria coming out. Obviously, putting out a disgusting amount of debilitating debuffs. However, we might just find ourselves nice, squeaky, and clean, protected by having that Christie to support our main DPS unit, which we have yet to pick for left side.
Mm-hmm. You could tell this is a tank down player because, wow. Not only do we get the Sea Lilius first, we take the Ruel to stabilize, and then we take a Knight. Yikes. That is a lot of damage being mitigated right there, and debuffs as well.
Gonna need somebody who can make a quick incision and slice right through the rest of this draft. Might be thinking Briarwitch Asaria is our girl. Will prevent the Ruel from bringing back from the dead, but also don't like our chances of getting those critical debuffs off at the same time. We lock it in, however, anyway, and we bring together our girl Senya. Oh, actually, no, we take it on left side. I thought that was for right side. Huh.
You can recognize them by the red and blue team difference.
Oh, I know. I always wasn't thinking. I was just so focused on my chicken.
I have problems with that too.
Blue team actually ending up with not a whole lot of damage here, and red team gets quite a few options, but you don't have that much coveted first turn, so it ends up being quite awkward for you. So both players have to kind of jiggle around their comp a little bit and maybe MacGyver something that'll work better for them.
Whatever happens at the end of the day, we've got 20 seconds left as we're ticking down on the clock between these two. Also, like to highlight, isn't KD from, I think that guild's familiar. I think the person, I think Cake was their name or something. They're also from the feudal era guild, if I believe.
Damn, we really gave him the nickname KD, huh?
Oh yeah,
Number 35, former MVP. Y'all the real MVPs. All right, I see where we going. Senya comes in, Lua comes in. He's actually running himself a really solid, stable, consistent team comp there. 3 openers and 2 1v4 bruisers. Getting one of them banned out, Fire Ravi. Getting to keep at least the Senya for himself. So that's an interesting win condition.
As typically reset things and the robot a little bit.
Oh no, Divine, you're turbo lag talking. Goodbye, Robot Divine. It was good having you.
It's not Divine. It's Discord. I was hearing it too for you, and when I turn on the stream, you're not looking.
Wait, what happened? What'd you say? It's Discord. Oh, no. Goodbye, Discord. Oh. Rippin' pepperoni. Well, Conqueror Lilius takes that first turn.
Now.
And we're going to provoke out the Fairy Tale Tenebria. That's a really rough turn to deal with. Usually, you really want that unit to go first to drop all the tempo she can drop. But Lua is going to come in, drop a reset. Narrowly misses the Briar Witch. I think there's a buff on her protecting that immunity, right? That or it just straight up missed. In which case, can only say unlucky. Have fun running solo? It's okay, we're out here. Discord, however, dropped the ball big time on us. Discord died on us too. I mean, it is what it is.
Am I better now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. Oh no.
Water down the wrong hole immediately afterwards. Holy shit.
Hey, yo, wrong hole?
Oh my god. Either way, we're coming back into the attack, and look at that. We've got plenty of debuffs splashed all over the place. Narrowly
escaping provoke there onto the Ruel, and that's definitely what you want. You don't want to give a Reviver a chance if you want to clutch out this game. Senya is going to drop a big S3. The Senya has no sustain, puts up her own buff. Oh, that's a big counter for the Green Armor. There's 3 defense breaks, brother. That's going to be a lot of damage.
I'll make you taste this.
Yeah, not only just a lot of damage, it's left a precarious situation indeed. The Soli as a solo Senya, the last thing we want to deal with.
Oh no. Now Discord is going down the wrong hole, Ben. And wrong hole is not where you want to go down when you're ending up with a solo 1v4 DPS. We said she's a 1v4 DPS, but when you have a Ruel up, she's always going to be a consistent win condition. Cleansing that provoke cleanses the blind. And oof. Is Rightside going to be able to hold this down? He's going to have a tough time. Jover for Discord, bro. I'm going to have to call Divine up on my telephone. I'm going to have to ring him up and then put his mic up over by my mic. Just to have a shot for both of us to cast this again. Discord fine again. Divine isn't even moving anymore on my screen. I don't know about Discord being fine. It certainly isn't looking fine. That's Divine. It just is Divine now straight up. I can hear you fine.
Is mine working?
Yeah, yours is working, Lucent.
Oh, okay. Because holy hell, there was so much delay and lag and woo. Anyway, what's going on with the game?
Yeah, I think I'm back now too. Am I back?
You're back. Well, Bryceria just landed a defense break on the Senya, but she is going to take a turn and just shut the debuff real quick. Gets herself out of that situation. You never want to be stuck with a defense break in any scenario. I think defense break is just the biggest damage magnifier in the game.
Yeah, we're in a bit of a lucky position to have the S1 EE that we do, and to be continually getting these heals off. Now we've got to consider the frenzy is ramping up, and we don't want to keep getting crit like we just were there again. We've got the defense break now. Can we figure out a way out of this situation? We're stuck in a stalemate. We've got the Senya here. She's continually taking the damage, but from the rest of the DPS slowly whittling away at her. I just don't know if we can hold on for long enough.
Big counter from Green Armin as well. Even on a no crit, it is going to eat a huge chunk out of the Senya. I think the big point for Senya to be able to survive this is to... Oh, there it is. She's gone. I was going to say continually chaining that soul burn on the S3 for the buffs, but not going to be enough. Yeah, that Green Armin actually made this game extremely satisfying from a viewer perspective. Holy moly.
So we get a repeat with the next match.
omegatheta is going to take that first match, so he's up 1-0, and whenever they're ready, we can send them into the second one. Yeah, and as you guys can see, KD is a silver player, so this is definitely one of the tournaments of all times. If, no gear requirement, no rank requirement whatsoever. Hey, if you think you got what it takes to draft, just pull up.
This is what the golden, the Amazon tournament should have been.
Also, Lost in a Banana. Thank you for the 5-month resub, dude. Welcome back. I appreciate it. Oh boy, you guys are seeing that, right? And there it is. He takes the game 1 and game 2 right off the bat. He is gonna pull the Navy Captain Landy. Oh boy. Now, right side is in for a world of pain. He needs to figure out what he can do. Uh-oh. I think we lost Divine again, boys.
No. Am I still coming in through, or is it still all Discord?
You're good. I want to say this is Divine now.
No, it's Discord. Still, I hear you cracking out, but Lucen's fine.
Oh, am I? Okay. Because, yeah, I couldn't tell if it was affecting everything or not. Because even... Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, we are going to pick up Shadow Knight Pillas. Shadow Knight Pillas is one of those tanks that's going to be really good versus counter-attacking units like the ML Landy. And the Assassin Cartusia here is going to give ML Landy some evasion chance. So on top of all the anti-crit she has, now she has even more anti-crit with the evasion. Just adding to the annoying factor it is to play into her.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because the only time I ever feel kind of bad about picking Shadow Knight Pillas, even if you're going into the counter stuff that she's necessary for, if I don't have sustain, I just feel very, very uneasy a lot of the time whenever I use her. Like, anytime I don't have sustain, I just get nervous.
I think that Pillas is actually pretty good into Landy because she's one of the few things that can keep Salty from being able to...
I mean, I think she does two things, right?
Number
one, you mitigate a lot of the counter attack and extra attack damage that this unit can put out. And number two, you can, if you generate enough soul for yourself, you can actually chain provoke her, which is going to let you prevent that S3 from coming through if your opponent doesn't have sufficient ways to cleanse that provoke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, also, Divine looking like he's back. He's moving again, chewing a little bit on cam.
Oh, am I here? Can I speak again?
You look like you're here.
Yeah,
bombing the stream? Okay, good.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at this. I'm just looking at so intensely, like, yeah, where's this gonna go? Because right now is until, at least the good news is he has some DPS choices on blue side, so he can't get locked into. Oh, I'll just ban the Landy. Whatevs, lol.
Mm-hmm. And you never want to get stuck with a single DPS, right? Byako kind of showed us what happened if you have one DPS and your opponent just bans it. You get absolutely stuck, no damage output, and if they have the right utility against your debuffs, you can't go anywhere with your draft.
I think Red Team can certainly cook here at the end, make an interesting decision at the very least. Oh
no, Divine is dead again.
Beep boop, bop, beep boop.
I am a robot. The good pick last. Remnant Violet, God! Potentially a pick here. I think right side really needs a lot of damage, and he is going to take the Remnant Violet, but when you take this unit, you really don't want to take him into the Senya, so that is a huge consideration for a ban right now. But overall, I would say left side looks so much more solid compared to the right.
Oh, wow, it's like everything's going down. Even the game went down for just a second.
Did everything freeze up? Look, man, we don't have the server that E7WC is played on, so, you do what you gotta do.
Yeah, we just gotta get right on through it. So let's see here. We still got...
Alright, I think Divine's back again.
I'm a little worried looking at that, because I just feel like the Arbiter Villager is going to be kind of useless because of all that anti-crit, and the fact there's evasion, and there's barrier.
There's just so much damage mitigation.
Yeah.
It's really the holy trinity of every form of, please don't touch me, I'm a small child.
He's got the anti-crit, he's got the barrier, he's got evasion, and on top of that, Landy has innate anti-crit as well, so throughout all of that, what can the Arbiter Villager do? Arbiter Villager, okay, well, you get a gap. That's a start. Next, can you hit with it? That is the real question.
Yeah, and then he's also got to deal with T-Star too. She's not even going to take a lot of damage. Look how thick that barrier is. He won't even break it.
Yeah, but with the greater ass beating coming out from Vildred, he barely makes a dent into the enemy team comp.
That, especially under the Tempest Siren, that's a unit with no HP, no defenses, and she's just riding out the barriers through that mitigation, and even then, couldn't pop that barrier. That's looking like a tough spot.
It always feels so good when you're playing like a damage limiting unit and you have a big thick barrier. You just feel invincible. God, it feels so good.
Ooh, speaking of that, Landy does proc the salvo after taking out Arbiter. Another greater ass beating buff comes through. I wonder if this time we can pop the barriers on some of these units. Through
Mildred
the blind.
looking like a father who just caught his child touching the air, the AC, and he's coming down with the beating. Oh no, procking enough.
Oh no, it's another S1 into a salvo combo.
Beep, boop, beep,
Landy took
boop.
one turn and she's already 4 out of 5 attacks on the way to her ultimate. That is looking pretty rough. And it resisted the Pillis S3. Oh my goodness, everything is coming up Omega Theta. That's a little crazy. Oh boy. Well, when your game plan falls apart and you got one man to call on, all you
Well,
got...
30% chance to crit. Didn't get it.
That's
Well,
all
actually,
you
no,
can
it's more
do.
than 30%,
Remnant
right?
Violet. Show me power from God. Oh no, Divine's frozen by that crazy play. He certainly ain't moving, I'll tell you what.
The chat.
Bro, I can't, man. Yeah, I wonder at some point Divine will just start putting a robot filter on and saying every other word in his sentence and just try to like hold as still as he can, making one face. Like, can you imagine if he just suddenly like make a Kana thumbnail?
That's a thumbnail for YouTube right there. Yeah. Ooh, that Landy's
Violet
dead.
got S3 kill damage. Oh wait, that Chris! That's a huge turn for the Remnant Violet. Wait a minute. Wait, I was aiming so hard. That was a huge turning point for this fight. Dear Lord, that is huge.
Absolutely, he is dead. And now I'm actually, I'm feeling a little bit better for Riot.
Yeah, that blue team, he's really pulling it out. Even though I don't think he's landed a single crit this entire match. It landed the one crit on an attack that matters, on a unit that matters, and that's all you can ask for.
100%. Absolutely. But like I actually have kind of a little bit of faith in Tempest Surin. I remember her but like there's still that 50% miss. But like I'm kind of rooting for her a little bit.
Now,
here.
if you ever watched E7WC 2021, the first ever E7WC, do you know how I would say maybe about 25% of all of those matches broke down?
Oh yeah, it was like just some random dice roll. It like is so close sometimes. It's amazing.
I think 25% of those games was T Surin hitting a greater attack buff and then hitting a Rylet. Like even in the semifinals, it was T Surin hitting a Gab and then hitting a Rylet. And then somebody said I hit a $25,000 Gab. That was Brother Stone the first year.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, right now, like I was having some hope, but then now I'm also remembering, yeah, she's restricted too. So like even if you do, well, no wait, when you damage her, that'll go away. So she'll cleanse it if she gets hit enough, and then she'll still zoom down on the bar. I forgot about that.
Now
100%.
the Remnant Violet is in a turbo stable spot. He's got the defense buff, wearing off this turn, but he has 2 souls, and you can soul burn that anytime you want. 3 turns left on the cooldown, 2 after this turn. And surely he's going to be able to make some big plays. T Surin is now kind of put on a timer to be able to hit here.
Absolutely.
1 turn left to the ultimate. So T Surin is slowly but surely setting herself up in a position. Going in on the Remnant Violet, you have to start landing hit, fishing for the chip damage, and doing whatever it is you can to put damage down on him.
Wow. Yeah, that like little bit of clutch, like Assassin Cartuja dodge, just straight up isn't coming in.
Oh no. Yep, Divine's restarting his PC right now, and as his PC is restarting, we're seeing this Assassin Cartuja getting closer and closer to death. I think this is probably just a soul burn right here. Hit number 1. hit number 2 is coming right up, and that's going to launch into an S3. And even though T-Stern gaps the damage, caps the damage to 50%,
done.
2 hits. That's a 1-2 combo.
Man, straight up, didn't even think about that, because I hardly ever use that. I just always see the additional attack happens to be on the enemy's turn. Very rarely will you get that opportunity to use it just as an extra attack. Feels amazing.
And that being said, game's 1-1 apiece now. One of these players needs to pull out a really good draft, surprise their opponents, and take this series home and move themselves onto, I think, the quarterfinals, is it? Let's run it.
Let's get it done. All right. Conqueror Lilius and LRK. It's going to obviously be Conqueror Lilius, I would assume.
You depending on how you feel about your draft, you could take either one, but definitely Conqueror Lilius is one of those units that she's so good, she fits into literally every single draft archetype out there. There's almost no situations where she's bad, and anything that beats her has its own counterplay. Mediator Coeric, though, not the worst response. Both of them kind of having a certain amount of check versus each other.
And then let's see here. Then he's going to either go down for like some tanking or just some top model Lulika or some Flan. But like, I wouldn't take a Flan early because you don't know what kind of DPS you're ever really going to get. Like, I just don't know if it would really be useful for you to pick early when you really don't know what could even come.
I would say as blue side, you have two real options here. You either take the top model Lulika, which is going to get pushed back by the Conqueror Lilius, but you have the Meteor Core to cleanse the attack down and the redirect that provoke, or you can just kind of cycle into her S2 and, you know, not need that should she not push you back, because she does outspeed your Mediator. Or you can play it safe and pick up a tank here. I would say red team has a lot more different options available. So he is going to pick up the tank, and red team does pick up the designer a little bit. And that's the power of a Conqueror Lilius, right? You can pick up literally anything, and it shouldn't feel too bad to you. You have a consistent team composition that lets you do a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, for real. And not only that, but he also just straight up completely killed the Researcher Carrot pick because Mediator Cowrick was already there. So then he had two options to pick, which just sucks to have.
Am I back? Am I fully enabled?
You are back.
Fully enabled.
All right.
Full power.
Now with all the power invested in me back here, I want to let you know we do have another match of the Car 7 boys fighting each other with Late and Volcanix now. So they're cooking up some more dumb shit to do to fight each other. So I will say that. But actually, before we get... it's funny I say this when I come back. But I think I want to hear a cast between you two. So I'm gonna take a seat back. I'm gonna sit back.
Okay, sounds good.
Sure. Go get me some brisket.
Ooh, that does sound good. Speaking of sounding good, MLK Ron sounds incredibly good in this draft here. Not a whole lot of damage comes through into the Mediator, into the blue crowd. That's a lot of buffs to stack onto that MLK Ron. And
that's very true. I was just a little bit worried about like how much damage the MLK Ron would really do here, because you know how cracked he has to be in normal play. I just don't know how effective he is in draft mode. Like, what is he more, damage or just survivability being annoying? Or can you debuff him?
I think you kind of want to go for either or. You either want to go for survivability, or you want to make sure whenever he's hitting back, he's doing damage, he's life-stealing back, and the build that's in draft mode is definitely more inclined towards that. Shu as a great pickup is a great response to Archdemon as well. And Green Armin, that's a good pick. Usually I would say no, but into the Shu, that's not a bad pick. And I'm looking at some scary units on the right for this comp.
Yeah, because like left side's looking mad tanky right now. But then of course there's Shu. Hey, I just, pierce that defense. I don't care how much health you have. But like, yeah, still, it's like, this is looking very, very balanced right now.
There's a lot of options for both players right now. I think depending on how fast they would like to play each match, Blue is reasonably looking at Peyra or Mercedes, depending on whether they think they need more damage or more control. Right side is going to pick up the Lionheart Surmia. Not the best into Blue Crow or Archdemon, but pretty good into the Green Armin. I think I personally would have liked the Spectre Tenebria in that spot myself. But in here, I'm sure he's cooking up some type of bands that'll let him play this unit a bit more comfortably.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very, very interested to see how, like that left side is looking mad safe. Very, very, very strong standing. But can it be pierced through? Let's see who gets banned.
Payra does get taken out, and I think that was very calculated on his part. He opted for the Payra as opposed to another damage unit, and the Lionheart Surmia gets taken out as well. I actually don't think he needed to ban that. I would have personally taken out maybe the Conqueror Lilius or the Designer Lilibet. I think both of those units are safe to take out, especially when you have the Archdemon, the Blue Crowd. Both of those units put the Lionheart in a check scenario. Not too bad of a scenario to be in, but with those bans out the way, let's get into games and see how they play it out.
Yeah, because now that you just mentioned that about like just the fact that Conqueror Lilius and Shu is there on the right now, so like if you happen to get those pulls, that's 3 attacks in 1 turn if you get lucky enough, and that hurts. That hurts bad.
Blue Kraut's got a big job coming up in this game. He needs to put up the defense buff and absorb as much damage as he can. Nostalgic Music Box puts the continuous healing buff on Kayron, so he's not going anywhere for a hot minute. Lilius is going to opt to walk into the Archdemon, pulse ML Kayron into a counterattack, isn't going to eat that seal though. Bastion of Hope holding down his ER gain. Mediator, so he has 2 options here. You either put up no buffs or you put up all the buffs and you hope to go before ML Kayron gets that full 10 stacks. And when he does get the full 10 stacks, that is one heck of a unit. He's going to be able to put down the S3 and what is that? It's like the equivalent of Rimuru S3ing the entire enemy team. And that's a big nuke.
Yeah, especially in RTA where, you know, we have that wonderful little thing called Frenzy. It just keeps making you weaker and weaker by the turn.
Hey, that depends. It depends on your playstyle and how you want to play. I mean, on one hand, you could say Frenzy makes you weaker and weaker, but if you're a damage dealer, Frenzy makes you stronger and stronger every turn. It's supposed to ramp up the game.
I guess that going ahead and exposes my playstyle, doesn't it?
Hey, sometimes it is what it is. You gotta rep yourself and rep yourself proud. Big Seal comes
really
in here
painful.
for Archdemon. Puts out the Designer Lilibet passive right away. Otherwise, she would have gotten a cleanse and a 40% combat readiness push, pushing her up the bar to steal a turn here. Not going to be any of that, so she needs to natural her turn.
Jeez, that just really sucks, doesn't it? Happens to happen to Designer Lilibet, that unit that's designed to cleanse these horrible, annoying debuffs, get sealed, and then you straight up can't even do your job.
I mean, that's
like,
the power
wow.
of these boss units, no? They get to absolutely lock away one of the mechanics of the game. And for Archdemon, she gets to lock away all the passives. And wow, another counterattack. Seals away the Sea Lilius. No passive there is to be removed, but is going to proc that extra attack, and you really hate to see that. And wow, Archdemon S3, that's a big turn. Lands 5 burns across the board, no defense breaks. Rather lucky on right side. And hey, that's just right side luck, right? What can you do?
Well, I mean, they do have that XDD in the background, so we'll see whatever happens whenever that comes around.
XDD is usually a crazy good matchup there too. Soul burns into the MLK run. We do get 1 counter back.
Can you handle this?
Ooh, I think this is going to actually hurt a little bit. It's really starting to stack up. Every single counter hit and just all that additional extra damage. Just, chip.
And that's the fairy tale for a nightmare power, right? You proc that extra attack, it's going to be a buff strip on 4 units, fixed damage, just peppering your opponents with not a whole lot of damage, but look at that. Comes in,
there it is.
Procs again, that's another 5,000 damage dealt to your opponent's team. Tick right there for free.
The only one who's even looking remotely kind of good in this match right now is just Shu, just because she actually has a form of sustain. But will she be able to go in and keep that up? Because that's where I'm starting to feel a little bad for Right. It's just taking too much abuse from additional damage.
Shu really needs to hold it down, but wow, procs the Elbrus.
Wee woo, we need backup.
Oh,
wee woo.
taken
There's
out
too many
right
of
there.
them. Wee woo.
Man, I don't see it, man. Can he survive these next few hits, really? Because, yeah, she's stunned.
He really
she
needed
can't.
that Designer Lilibet turn, and I want to thank Kim Possible for the raid. No, wait.
Initiating defense.
Oh my god, I appreciate the raid. I hope you guys had a good stream. Thank you guys for coming in today. We are mid-tournament right now with our Rush Hour Royale Draft City, and today's special guest is Lucen Azure coming back from his shift. And we're just looking at some draft mode, having a chill time, and watching Discord die on us.
Yeah, it's been pretty interesting. But like either way, man. So that's 1 turn already gone. You know what's funny? He could probably horse right now, and he could actually kill him. Maybe. Because, like, how much HP was that? Because I think a horse can do... Well, no, he was at full HP, right? So horse is never a good option, even if you have S1 available for the sake of trolling, right?
Mm-hmm. That'd be pretty disrespectful. And look at that. This Archdemon procs so much. Got herself another 5 focus. This is like her 3rd or 4th turn. She gets another S3. And just cleans up the match right there with an Archdemon draft.
Yeah, okay, they're telling me now what they're a minute behind, so this is gonna be fun.
they're gonna see.
Are they still waiting down mid,
exactly
or they're really taking their time to pick this? Because we got what? LRK. Wow. Okay, running it down mid still. Apocalypse Ravi versus versus Green Leica. Looking a little bit rough for the A Ravi. As long as you can get a little bit more set up. 2 supports coming out for the second round, 1 apiece. B-Dom as well as DN, but I think the B-Dom here loses quite a bit of value compared to the DN, no? Although, I will say that ML Roana does look good there in conjunction with the rest of these.
Don't just be appreciating the ML Roana, appreciate the rest of the draft, because as I finally load in after all this time, I do see that a demon has appeared in the last instances of the draft here, and the demon, of course, we don't land on her, unfortunate. We do get an Inos instead with a Red Ravi paired up to finish up the draft nice and tight.
Oh man. Having to give up a ML Landy in the draft, that has to feel bad. I mean, how often do you have to give up the best unit in the game? That's a real gentlemanly agreement if I've ever seen it, and especially with what, $500 on the line. I respect it. I respect it.
Some may call it collusion. I call it commitment. These are 2 boys who are dedicated to their craft. And
Nay,
are at least
Divine,
somewhat
these
honorable.
are not boys. These are men.
These are men. Well, these two men see no need for these 2 ladies to be accompanying them to the ball, so we bid farewell to Operator Secret and the SSB as we get into what is probably going to be an interesting game. Starting off, Inos already has the effect resistance buff up. We've got Christy to protect the A-Ravi in the back. We've got the end. I wonder if we're going to get any sleeps at all. If I'm going to be honest with you.
You're going to just have to rip this. I think I personally would have opted for the attack buff there. Attack buff really good on ML Roana, scaling into a lot of damage, but going to rip the S3 anyways. No immunity on 3 characters. How good is this draft mode, Roana? Boom, 3 knockbacks. Let's check the cooldown delays. Oh, we're looking
it's an interesting choice to say the least, and here's another choice from Operator Secret. She choices up to give her her team that cleanse, that heal, that attack buff, and the speed. So we saw the decreased speed before, but not really too much of a factor. Now we want to get rid of this command model Leica, because as we talked about previously in the tournament, Roana's going to be following up on her turns. So the faster she goes, the more slow this Roana is going to be in the back line, and it's going to help our team at least stay up for a little bit while longer.
I mean, Roana herself is really slow, and if you can stop this green Leica, that ends up being pretty much your win condition, just because most people, I think, would feel really comfortable about taking an Apocalypse Ravi solo into the Fire Ravi.
Yeah, and I like the wait here from Late. Definitely a moment where he's thinking, what the fuck does Christy do? Taking a moment to read over those skill abilities and just re-familiarize himself.
I happen to know quite well. She gives 50% of her ER that's in her kit in particular that'll go into the back row. So for LateInput in general, he's going to have a little bit of extra effect resist that's going to be on Apocalypse Ravi, and that Leica is looking pretty squishy to me. So like she's probably going to go down probably right here, in my honest opinion. Because as soon as he does that, then like the Roana's pretty much going to be dead in the water. Next turn she's going to pretty much stay at the top of the CR bar almost forever.
Mm-hmm. Now, the only thing I'm really worried about, which has been one of the other breakout stars we've seen so far of the draft tournament, is kind of that Red Ravi. I remember her being a dangerous element before, and she's probably going to be the last. I'm cycling between woman, child, and homunculus right now, but she's going to be the last one standing on the team.
Well, according to the lore, that would be the best friend of Shadow Knight Pillis before they lost their memories. There you go.
There you go. Listen, and the stream only isn't keeping you informed about the game. We're keeping you informed about Epic 7's valuable lore, which is almost as valuable as the S3 coming out from Christy right here. What? I forgot already what it does.
It gives attack buff to everybody on the field, and she gives herself defense buff. You're making me upset that you don't use Christy.
She also heals herself.
Yeah, a little bit of a heal too. It's very, very useful. Just to straight up have for like a nice little like anchor, because usually I have mine on Aureus.
So I think the game now comes down to how long can this Red Ravi survive? Because for now, you're never going to make a huge splash, a huge impact on anything right side team has to offer, and it's clear this is going to be a Red Ravi solo. So I think the key for late input here is, not going to even try. Because the back unit went down, right? That's what we said? The moment the back unit goes down,
was that the rule there?
No, that's the next one. This is just Volk not understanding the power of Fire Ravi.
I don't know. I think it was Fire Ravi into a Blue-Dien who's consistently putting up anti-crit like...
You say that, right, Divine? But from my experiences 2 to 3 years ago, that is actually a hard winning matchup for Red Ravi. I've lost to that matchup plenty of times. And wow. Still BO3 here, and that was late input taking game 1.
So are we doing Protect the President, or is this typical draft?
We're doing whatever we need to do to respect the homies.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they just had a gentleman's agreement on doing something extremely specific.
Oh, okay, Doug.
Oh no, apparently he just gave up.
Neat.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right, we got Spectre Tenebria and Conqueror Lilius on board. So I'm going to assume this one is Protect the President, because we're getting pretty much the picks you'd assume from that first spread there. Then we're going into the Lionheart Surmia and the Senya. Lionheart Surmia, very much a good answer to both of what's presented on the right side already. And we've got damage, and then you fine. Always looking good. Nice to see you. Up on red side, and then defense, evasion defense, and Wanderer Silk. Always good to see you too. We pick the Crow, and we pick up the Remnant Violet, as we get a little bit more defensive and offensive on either side.
So I'll tell you right now, I'd already be scared of that Remnant Violet, just because, hey, Spectre Tenebria is there, but guess who can still hit her if you get lucky enough?
Get lucky enough is, hey, look, you would think there are a lot of drafts where, you get lucky enough, but hey, sometimes he just gets hit and dies like a chump, okay?
I've got some information actually for you too, because I was talking to Late last night. It was a very rare instance where after the tournament, thinking about all the money, thinking about the fantasy of winning and finally proving people, he got pretty drunk, right? And he was talking about the days when he used to be a professional gambler, actually before he joined up with the Queen's Guard. Had was swung between millions of dollars of debt into being a millionaire the next week, just living the absolute highs and lows of life. And if you are praying to the Church of Remnant Violet, that's the life you're living. You're living the best of times, and you're living the worst of times. Now let's get a look at those bans. The Lionheart Surmia, obviously too debilitating for what's on
very
right
good
side.
ban. Mm-hmm.
Yep, and the Senya as well.
And you know what? I'll never thought I hear the words "a British boy getting drunk." I never thought I'd hear about that in my life.
Down by the pub for a pint of ale.
Oh no, not British Divine. British Divine is not real. British Divine cannot hurt you.
British
But
Divine
who
can't
can hurt you is this Conqueror Lilius taking her walk. 4 honor comes through. Vigor buffs on 4 units and attack down on 3. Arya narrowly evading the debuff, so her output's not going to get held back, and Blue Crowd resists the redirected provoke. Really good move for that first turn. You definitely love seeing that.
You definitely love seeing that. And then you follow up over here with the Sylvan Sage Vivian, with the buff on herself, getting
oh no. Big
So
counter
there's-
comes through, but you don't want to see that on the Malona.
Oh, done.
I think that's a dead Arya.
100% done.
God save the Queen, and there she goes!
Counter comes through. Ryla does get hit, but that's not nearly enough damage to make an impact.
No, not at all. And now Spectre Tenebria is sitting on last bloody legs. As we get the burn, Means we're going to have a reduced cooldown on the S3 over here.
Just
Why
make sure you don't use.
Australian?
Just be sure you don't use the
can't
same
hold this.
vocab words.
All these
Oh, you
EU...
fucking can't spec it to neighbour, you bouncy
All-
goddamn sows.
All the EU fucks are the same to me, I'm going to be honest with you.
Wait, Australia's
Oh,
like the
it's
opposite of EU, bro. That's not even
It's
close
like
to being the same
discount
thing.
in the EU. It's like the hardest discount version of the EU. By the way, you know what? Even if it is in the EU, it's going to get blown up like it got hit by the whole force of the European Union. Like this crowd coming in with the damage, even through the mitigation we talked about before. He absolutely rode roughshod.
I was wondering why Blue
Yeah.
Crow, did not horse Malona or even the Remnant Violet. But this is to
Holy
protect the president. That's why the Blue
Protect the
Crow was in the
president.
back, and that's why he tried to all in the Blue Crow. So Volcanix actually takes the series to. Wait, he evens it up to 1-1. Oh my
He
god.
evens it up to what? That's actually really exciting. Okay, maybe we might have to do a protect the president.
Yeah,
That's-
this is actually really interesting. Oh my goodness. That was crazy. I was getting a little bit confused watching that, but with the context that they were trying to protect their back unit, that made so much sense why they both did that. Sage Vivian in the back, just to mitigate so much damage, and then Blue Crow getting hit and barely having enough damage to turn that around. Goodness.
What all this likely means is that we're going into the last match with the last of those rules, which means your plan, my plan, where they're going to actually be picking each other's units.
Oh, you got to remember, Divine, is this isn't it, Governor? Isn't it?
Oh no,
Uni.
not that.
Uni.
I said I don't have that many British friends. I didn't say I didn't have any, motherfucker. Also, Hez,
Okay.
we're a minute behind. You can't say this stuff. It's gonna feel out of context.
All right, well, I don't know what the rules here are, but we're looking like we're in the E7 WC. We got Handguy versus SC Arrowell. This is not going to be a fast match.
We're going slow. Whoa, whoa. You think we said the Adventure Ross? I think you picked the Oh no, you picked the Sage Ball. It says it. Okay, that makes more sense. Because you're picking. Yeah.
Favorite character, man.
Specimen says, Cookout Kawazu. Oh, it's got to be a Twisted Eidolon game. No, but we do get to see the Specimen says, which is interesting. He can obviously set himself up with an S2 to get the stuns he need, but obviously if he's not provided any, he's going to be pretty low value.
I think this
overall.
is going to be something that a lot of newer players aren't going to be familiar to. Why people get hyped about Specimen says?
Well, when
Just
I
the
first
design.
Tell you what, he's one of those units where you don't see him very often because he's a character that's not supposed to work. When things are stunned, he one-shots them regardless of who they are, where they are, and how they work. He just touches them and they explode. So imagine how hard a stun is to set up in this game. Yeah, that's what it takes for Specimen Says to work. And
he's like
that's a rare
with
game.
conditions. I mean, he's not steady. He's like Lethe, but with conditions. With actual
Absolutely,
conditions.
and I don't think he's supposed to work here, but all right, don't know what the rules for this one are.
I think this is ban mid. There's so much mid on right side. Actually, now I look.
Mm-hmm. That's just way too much mitigation. Jeez. I wonder if this
'cause
is still a protect the president draft. Angelica takes the first turn. We got Zahak in the back. I don't think that's likely to be the president being protected. No.
No, this is purely just you pick my units, I pick your units.
Okay. I see.
Yeah.
I would assume he's going to go into Sage Ball for the injury damage, or do you think he's going to try and kill something? Okay, so Specimen says.
Yeah, snipe out the Spez or snipe out the Sage. Either way, you take out the biggest long-term damage prospect for left side, and Volcanix kind of gets stuck with no way to carry his damage low for his team.
Very true, because the one thing that a Specimen says is just able to rip through with that S2, then it'll just start one-tapping everything very slowly.
Yeah. This Rwana, although a good unit, it's going to be able to push back. It's going to be able to do a lot. Gets some of her buff stolen immediately. Gets followed up by the counter. Gets stunned immediately
That's
by Our favorite cat girl. Yep, that's a tough interaction at the very least to say.
Being protected by 3 knights. This Hawk is secure as hell. And even on top of that, the Rohanna even has a buff. So if the Zahak ever catches her out with a buff again, ooh, okay. Saves 1 turn of damage, puts him to sleep. The Sage Ball's doing everything that he can.
You know what the best part is, Valky? Not only is the Zahak invincible that he gives himself, he also has Skill Null, which Skill Null can't be taken away because of invincibility. So even if you hit it, Skill Null's still going to be there.
Absolutely.
Also means he's still going to be.
Wake him up.
Also means he's still going to be asleep. Yeah.
That's also true as well. Mm-hmm.
So kind of has to lose that turn. Not a lot we can do. I think if there's any win condition for Volcanix here, he has to be able to drag this game to like Frenzy 9. Now, I don't know how familiar you guys with the Sage Ball unit, but he's actually kind of a terror because as attack ramps up into later phases of Frenzy, his S3 actually scales with attack.
We need backup, wee-woo. There's too many of them, wee-woo.
Is this on iOS? This game is absolutely on iOS. You can find it here to my right, scan the QR code, and down below to find a link to download. Also, Lunal, thank you for the raid.
I'm pointing at it. I'm a good guy. I point at things to help out. Now the Rowanna's gone. The defense breaks a little bit of that help that we wanted. And this is the part. So we were holding on to the S2 because we wanted the continual 20% CR push when we're holding it on enemy turns. But we have to give it up at this point just to get some kind of momentum going.
Yeah, but Volcanix definitely in a rough spot. We set his win condition for this match here is being able to take this to Frenzy 9, and wow, we're something along the lines of 40 turn off of Frenzy 9. We're only in Frenzy 2, but if he can snipe out as a Hawk, there's a small chance. I think he might actually be able to do it, but there, like I said, a very small chance for him to be able to do this.
Yep, we're going to get the soul burn here, and it's going to hurt. Only question is, where does it go? It lands on the Sinji. She's gone and out.
Also, thank you, Lunal, for the big raid. I hope you guys had a good time on the stream today, and I hope games went well. For everybody coming in here for the first time today, I'm Uncle Valk. I'm just an idiot stickman, honestly, and we are Rush Hour Royale. This is Draft City, and we are in the quarterfinals of the tournament. Now we're seeing Volcanix and LateInput go up 1-1 against each other. Trying his hardest, drops the ultimate, does not land that kill. The arrow wall damage redirect was a little bit too much there.
The arrow damage redirect, I think doesn't whatchamacallit, Cat Girl there's take away some of the damage on single target attacks as well?
That is correct.
Is that for the team or yeah, okay, yeah.
So 30% damage is being removed, and then 30% more damage is being removed from that. So you're dealing like half damage through everything.
It's toxic. It's entirely a toxic setup. But Late does take it in the end. But not only does he take the win, he takes his friend's soul. He's going to be carrying it forward. So be careful, all right? You're not fighting one person at that point. This man has digivolved into being 2 whole beings ready to rip and tear and colonize the rest of the bracket.
So doing a quick bracket check, we are watching what you just saw is LateInput versus Volcanix, where Late goes up 2-1. Up next, we'll have Cycalism versus the final Epic, and when we return, we should probably see the result for the top bracket. evandariel is fighting Lunar right now. That's a friend of the community, both of them. And STG fighting LunarTzuyu.
Nice cards.
Yeah, these guys got some pretty interesting cards. Wow, okay. So this is going to be a slightly bit more competitive than I think what we saw last series. We're already seeing Navy Captain Landy coming out straight up in the first pick. One of the hardest units to deal with the game. The newest ML5 to hit the block, the new cool kid. Oh boy, she's going to be a problem in this draft.
Yeah, it is already looking like a problem because even if you start to see a bunch of DPS picks coming in on Novak's side, he can't really kind of like follow through with it because of, hey, LOL, free crit resist. Have fun.
I think he was maybe looking to play a bit more of a tank down play style with that airwall first pick just because she mitigates so much damage, but wow. I don't know if you want to play tank down with these units. have some options, but they're all aggressive options. So he does pick up the Mort there. I think the ML Roana was maybe another one to be considered. She's pretty solid in that role.
That's very true. I guess it's just, it might be kind of hard to deal with like a Requiem Rowana, like to be picked early if you don't know what kind of speeds you're going to be looking at further down the line. Wouldn't that be like something you could really be thinking about?
It gives you a bit of freedom. I mean, SC Airwall's not the worst unit to be having in a aggressive draft. It protects you from stuff like just somebody dropping a Ran on you, but you really got to be careful. Now, Solitaria gets picked up here for Cycalism. Has a way to stop the strays, but the end kind of goes above her in terms of utility.
Speed?
Just because the Solitaria here does not have any... Solitaria here doesn't have any effectiveness to hold back the DN.
Mm-hmm. And I see a demon over there on red. She's staring me down.
Oh, she's getting ML soon. That's going to be even worse. You excited?
I know I am. I think at the very least, her kit is pretty exciting.
I almost want Novak to pick Pirate Captain Flan just so we get to see the oh-so-wonderful interactions between Navy Captain Landy and Pirate Captain Flan, because this is the only time it's ever happened. Navy Captain Landy actually has different voice lines for fighting a certain unit. She's the only unit like that.
Yep. I'd love to see some more of that. I'd love to see Ross have a PTSD breakdown every time he sees Mort again. Like, why?
You know, I hope it was, I wish it was executed a little bit better. It is pretty cool. I think P. Flan's the logical pick here just because out of all of the damage options he has, even though Pirate Captain Flan does not work that well into Mort or Landy, she is very consistent damage. And here, wow. Oof, we do see a Lua coming out for last pick. You got the Navy Captain Landy and the Lua. Talk about getting an overloaded draft. Jeez. Yeah. Green Celine, though, kind of a nice counter to be able to come in here.
Yeah, the Captain Landy and the Lua forming somewhat of a toxic twosome over there on the right side. But as always, you know, Mort isn't really as much of a joke as he used to be. We used to shout out Mort a lot, but those buffs have certainly helped him. We're going to be saying goodbye to the captain, as well as Strays, so the boss characters are off the board. And it's time for the rest of them to show off what they got and to see how this plays out. Now, we could see some action from Shu, especially once she rips with that S3. Plenty of counters, actually, from the Mort as well. It's going to certainly be an interesting comp to say at the very least.
Yeah, I've already got a headache looking at this.
S2 comes out from the Lua, puts the Flan to sleep, but drops the S3. Now Celine's going to be activated. Intuition goes into the... Ooh, big hit onto the Solitaria.
That's very rough.
Very rough indeed. She can't follow up with the S3 that did get reset, but that S1 does take a nasty chunk out of Shu. And she starts with the counterattacks already. S2, be funny. Yep, absolutely a hilarious unit. We're all having fun.
TEXD.
You have your options. You either have to hit the Shu or you have to hit the Mort. Lua herself goes into Guiding Light. So you got to do something there. And I don't know if Shu's the right choice. That is a rough target to go into.
I did manage to get at least one buff off of that Mort. It kind of sucks because she had a debuff, so she didn't give herself effectiveness buff. That's the one thing that's kind of annoying to deal with when it comes to ROL.
Oof. I was going to say Captain Flan has a turn to go into the Shu, but he picked the time to learn his lesson, but maybe you go for the strip on the Shu there, take the immunity, but ouch.
So, this is gonna hurt, guys.
This is indeed gonna hurt. If crit resistance buff wasn't up before, it's gonna be up now. But more importantly, the injuries, the damage, and revel in the basking gloriness of the king. We didn't even need Solitaria, to be honest with you. We're cleaning this up one by one. Can Shu hit the DN? She absolutely can. Can she force and crit into the second unit? No, but she'll do plenty of damage while she's at it. Finally, we've cycled back to the S3. Are we lucky enough to get the Thunderclap hit with all this crit resistance? No, definitely not to the Shu. I believe she's also on Snow Crystal, so our chances weren't high. We get the barrier, we get the evasion, we get what we need to hold on for a little bit longer, but so does Mort, refreshing and recycling those buffs, which goes back in and cycles the S2 again, missing the crit once more. Can we get this savior? Can we get the one crit we need? Well, we're going to find out here with another turn coming around. No, and a counterattack is what we get for our troubles.
I think the first turn value from the Shu with 2 counters and a Fush just set the Mord up for a big stomp. Mord stomp basically took out what? 2 units, and then just put him in a position where all he needed to do was clean up.
You know, and AoE, once again, great into tanks that are going to be taking the damage for the rest of their team. So it was able to help him finally put down the Airwell, and once our protection was gone, we were going to get blown up no matter what. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, whenever they are ready, let's send them in. Can Novian come back and hold it down 1-1? That's how comeback start.
Happy we could come by this side of the draft and see what was really going on as we get home. No. I saw both of them. I was like, Conqueror Lilius is the pick. Then I saw her, and I'm like, okay, so it's just nothing. Okay, is that Astromancer Elena on blue side? At game, I'm sorry, just want to put this out there. Right side actually was the one that wanted the Astromancer Elena, but it's okay, whatever. Who cares?
I don't know. I mean, I see that Dark Corvus looking pretty sexy against the Navy Captain Landy.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yep. Dark Corvus is going to get picked up here. You normally wouldn't pick him in the second position here, I feel, but when your opponent doesn't know when they're going to get either, they might not be able to find a counter to him just in time.
Yeah, very, very true. 100% true, actually. And then, also, which way are both of them going to go?
I think Watcher Shuri's looking nice, but that might... No, I figured the Spirit Isolane would be nicer.
Okay, so Christie, he's thinking of protecting. Okay.
Yeah. And actually, really like the Lethe here as well as kind of a backup in case our Dark Corvus ends up getting banned.
Not gonna lie, I usually run Leith and Dark Corvus in the same teams whenever I'm doing Arena. I like to kill stuff.
The problem is this Lethe isn't exactly on a build that's engineered out towards that type of play. I believe she's 290 speed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, in this game mode, she is very fast. She's meant to be more of a lead unit that you take, and wow, she actually gets passed over for the Solitaria here. Solitaria is pretty strong into both the Selene and the Carrot, I would say, but that last piece, Corinne, kind of a thorn in red side. Just because she's so fast and packs so much damage. Although, I don't know if she can do that through the Conqueror Lilius. Conqueror Lilius still being one of the best first pick in the game, like a year and a half into her release.
And that Illinev, I was seeing that coming from a mile away. Because even if he didn't pick SSB up there, then you would just ban the Dark Corvus, and you essentially would have won.
A couple of things to consider now. If you want your last piece, Corinne, to succeed, you have to ban the Lilius. If you want your Carrot to succeed, you have to ban the SSB. Lots of things to think about for Novian, and does take out the Lilius, but wow, good identify by Cycalism. Trades out the last piece, Corinne, just to protect the Solitaria.
Protect the Solitaria. Elnav, unfortunately, is going to be making quite the snack out of Dark Corvus. I mean, he is a snack, absolutely, if you've seen that guy. But we'll just have to hold on, survive as long as he can. He's bloated, absolutely, with the ER. Strack Scotland, combined with Christie's S2, which is the only part of her kit I swear I'll remember. As we rain down the stars, start pushing back, and get our first counterattack, our second counterattack. In fact, as well.
That's what happens when you play against this. Big cut by 2 of the fast DPS units. Well, they aren't even that fast, but I guess when you counterattack and you gain passive combat readiness, pushing you up that bar, that's just what happens. Illinov's thinking about it, passes on the S3 for the crit damage buff, and just decides to land an S2 into the Dark Corvus. Now, when you're playing against a Seaside Bologna, especially with 2 fire units, you're going to have to be a little bit careful. Soul burns a Kara. We're going in for the damage. You know,
we don't land the burns on the target we obviously wanted.
We don't land any of the burns, actually.
Yeah, didn't land a thing, really.
Well, but we get a follow-up anyway! Never punished! Never punished!
I was going to say, do you ever just detonate on the SSB right there? I think the SSB is kind of a huge unit in this case. And, Christie S3 comes out, attack buff for the SSB. I think the SSB is the biggest threat. You have to find a way to address that. And Dark Corvus Provoke does go into this Landy, and now he is Prime. Now the next big job to do for this Dark Corvus is you got to get him 10 souls, because Dark Corvus without 10 souls does not do a whole lot of damage.
The good news, at least, is if he does decide to go for the Navy Captain Landy, he will do additional damage because of type element advantage. So that is one important thing that he could have. It depends on what his HP value is, because he's also dealing with injury.
The injuries, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pray. Yep, we get the S3 from Ilnov. As we land on the sword of something, I don't know. I'm not Sue. I don't memorize this stuff. But that does lead us to getting another counter in return, and I think that counter will finally put down the Spirit Eye Celine for good.
Batback was very powerful there. SSB is about to take another turn as well. S1 from Christie activates an Elbrus Ritual Sword. The counter comes through. Ouch. Takes out the Christie, and wow, Dark Corvus gets his turn. No 10 souls. Big decision. Half health Navy Captain Landy probably does go down here.
Mm-hmm. It's actually a lot more than you would think. So the biggest thing that's really going down is I think I'm kind of leaning towards SSB right now. I'm kind of in her lane, even though she can get countered and Elbrus like happened right here.
No,
she's going to counter back on her own.
Countered. It's a good thing when she countered because she gets extra stacks, and look at that! When
That's
she gets
it.
extra stats, she bat back. Cycalism takes the series clean 2-0.
Even on a hot summer day, you can't stand in SSB's way. And that means the win goes to Cycalism.
So we got to see all the matches on bottom bracket. On the top bracket, Lunar goes up 2-0 versus Evan, so he gets taken out. STG narrowly squeezes out a 2-1 to beat out Theta. And as we saw earlier, Late goes up 2-1 versus Volcanix, and Cycalism takes a clean 2-0. So now all four of these fellows are in the money. All right, well, we got the boys lined up. This is our top four. Everybody's already in the money. They'll be fighting for a $500 prize pool. And, if they make it to the finals and then win that, they'll have the entire anniversary packed for them. So whenever they're ready, let's just jump into the match. This will be a BO5.
Nice cards.
I'm going to enter one of these
STG's card is so
randomly.
demonic, man. Oh, boy. Well, we haven't even gotten that far yet. We already have a Lua on board. Picked up by STG, but is checked out by the faster Peyra. Peyra's slightly faster, but she can't really stop the Lua, who's able to just strip, one buff as well as delayed the cooldowns on Lunar's entire team if she goes through.
I'm eyeing that Sharoon. Oh, yep, definitely picked it. Just because it's such great insurance for if you're ever dealing with buffs, because they go bye-bye.
Sid comes out as well, so Lunar now with the absolute aerial superiority. Him's controlling all the speed here. Sharoon's not that bad of a matchup just because the amount of buffs she can strip, but now I would say STG's team is looking a little bit too debuff heavy. But debuff is never that bad of a thing to play around in draft mode, just because your opponent is never guaranteed to take buff cleanse. And wow, as we say that, DM picked up, so Lunar kind of have a bit of everything he needs. He's got damage buffs, he's got mitigation, he's got cleanse, and the damage on top. Only thing he's missing is bruisers now.
Yep, he's got a little bit of that assassination flavor to him, but is that going to stand strong against STG, also known to the community as the Solitary God? That's right, STG, standing on top, looking at the plebs and peons below him, knows his strength, his versatility, and just his intelligence is enough, let alone his might, as he bites down with the Holiday You Fiend pick, going to be able to sort out and blast away all those nasty debuffs should they come his way. And the Alencia picked up on right side as well. And finally ending it with a classic. We know, fuck it, we go Ran, boys. A unit that's going to blast pass through and do a lot of damage that's due. I believe 1 speed less than the Peyra in the game mode, but still within realm of obviously speed RNG taking course. So we'll have to see if this gamble takes off and plays to his benefit.
Now, if he wants to take turn 1 here, he absolutely has to ban this Green Sid. Green Sid giving the Peyra 10 speed, but I'm wondering if he just does take it out, and Holiday Eupheme ban. So Lunar is betting on that base speed. 306 versus 305, going over everything and landing a whole layer of cannot be buffed. Now, that's something pretty deadly. That's going to not only affect the Rand, but also the Sharoon.
Yeah, and this also looks fairly annoying because Briar Witchesaria is there, who just happens to have some accuracy on her, too.
He cries out immediately. He does lose out the speed war, unfortunately. But that does lead to a couple misses, which does push up the Fat Cat to get ready for the attack.
Lunar is going to think about this. Tries to fish for the stun on the Lua. Now, the S3 mitigation is going to be nice, but it's not what wins him this match. He goes for an S2 to put up immunity on one unit, also just to cycle that cooldown a little bit. And he's going to fish for that S3.
Unfortunately, it's not going to give him skill null, though.
It's not going to give him skill null, but most importantly, it's going to give him a couple of debuffs. Let's see if we can stack on a couple more with the sleep here and the follow-up from the Beguile. If the Fat Cat is able to land his defense break and his stun, this team might just be done.
Ooh, and I do believe that lands one turn on every unit. Oh, no, Alencia does escape, so S3 is still available for Alencia. Genesis able to strip all of his buffs. And
oh, the defense break, but not the